So hopefully everyone is on the story recap page here. Um, and most recently, for our main party of heroes, you all arrived back at Telperian's home, Athenian, the Moonset Grove. Elvish rangers known as the Celithar escorted you through the illusory veil, protecting this capital city of Mooncrest elf culture within the Emerald Forest. And you proceeded quickly, being escorted by them, to Nightlamp Palace, which serves as both Keep Loonsong as well as sort of the bastion structure of House Nimberthil in this city, which houses many embassies within. But you met Telperian's father, Maethros, outside, the verdant lord and general of the Celithar, outside the keep, who welcomed his son warmly and regarded all of you somewhat cautiously. And as you were led into the palace to Telperian's personal bedroom and chambers, you rested for a short duration before meeting Telperian's twin sister, Minerva, who took a keen and curious interest in you all, your band of rather unique party members. And finally, you were all summoned to the throne hall of Nightlamp Palace, where various house leaders, attendants, diplomats, etc., stood in waiting for your entrance. And subsequently, you met Aranil Tenufeil Loonsong, Telperian's mother, as well as the reigning monarch of all of the Ithelwingay Mooncrest culture. A sort of council meeting was held where many of the house leaders and Aranil herself gave Telperian the opportunity to speak to his actions of forsaking their people to journey to Creatia and Chimeras and beyond to even other planes. Through some pressured conversation, many were reluctant, but some members in attendance were fairly open and amenable to Telperian's words, and especially struck by his emphasis of finding evidence of Elealor, Sun Elf activity, as well as his burgeoning development of Crescent Knight psionics, which seemed to be a big deal as many reacted to that rather startledly. However, House leader of Tiaralin, the Forest Watch elves, Dagon Wildvine, was particularly resistant to Telperian's departure from tradition, especially kind of criticizing his reckless presence in the northern nation of Creatia, especially being at Ostennis during Durast's invasion, feeling a moon elf being present there could draw unwanted attention to your people here. And more notably, House leader of the Enalaran, the Cloud Swift elves, Arethel Mirelight, was deeply offended that Telperian would willingly ally himself with Chimeras, and more specifically the bird folk that had slain his eldest son and Telperian's close friend. That his bitter anger boiled over finally and lashed out at both Telperian and Aranil Tenufeil, heavily criticizing both of them and announcing his contention for desire to take the crown of Aranil for himself. And at his insistence, before storming out of the throne hall with his wife Raybella and son Ezrin, Celithar Rangers approached and apprehended you all for a small time. Maethros seemed to give a kind of saddened nod to the events at the surprised guards, somewhat indicating for them to escort you elsewhere, in alignment with Arethel's suggestion. And Toby Rama, as Arethel Mirelight's son, had stopped by Telperian's side to kind of admonish him personally, claiming that Tel had betrayed Doran's memory this night. You had kind of noticed that Telperian wasn't really focused on that kind of accusational insult, but rather was staring off into the distance toward his sister Minerva, who, after a few moments of looking rather confused with her eyes fixed on her brother, finally nodded in some sort of understanding and slipped into a side corridor, making herself scarce. And that is where we pick things back up. Just past midnight or so, so technically very, very early in the morning of Turdas, the 23rd of Sun's Dusk, as you are all being respectfully but firmly escorted out of the throne hall by several Selethar guards to the backdrop commotion of audience noise as various diplomats and stuff are talking to themselves hushedly and frantically, with this news of Erethel Meyerlight's contention surely being discussed around you. But you are led down a marble corridor back the way you came, up a set of familiar spiral stairs, across a library balcony, and down a stone hallway in a direction you know to be toward Telperian's room, though many other rooms adorn the sides of this corridor as well. Could I have all of you please roll me a d20? Okay.
Ooh. Toby, you're supposed to roll low.
Is that everyone? I need to roll one for Kinsalo as well really quickly.
Oh my god, Kinsalo.
Oh, I should just do that here. A 5. Okay, who are the lowest 3?
Me and
appears
Rome. Yeah.
Telperian, Rome, and Kinsalo.
Kinsalo's roll didn't come in the chat, by the way.
I know, I just rolled it personally in
Got it.
my section. Pardon me for a moment. Okay.
Toby nat 20.
So as you are led toward Telperian's chambers, some of the Selethar escorting you, there's about 4, 2 in front and 2 behind your party, kind of shuffling you guys forward. One of them speaks toward Kinsalo and Rome specifically. You two will keep quarters with the prince. The 3 of you will follow me toward a guest chamber that has been prepared for you. And as they kind of shuffle you, again, firmly into a different guest suite, some of you, they speak to each of you. You are all to wait here for further instruction from the general, the council, or the Aranel herself. Should you attempt to leave and become a nuisance, you will be hastily relocated to the prison cells below the keep, which will certainly be less lavish and hospitable, as they have not been needed and therefore untended to in centuries, perhaps. Please, wait here. And you are all moved into various chambers. Telperian, Kinsalo, and Rome in Telperian's quarters, and Jiri, Tobirama, and Roulette into a guest suite.
It's the kids' table and the adults' table is what I'm laughing at.
I want to ask one of the Selethar as we're getting sorted, and I'll go into my recorders and any bags that belong to those 3, I will give to the guards and just ask them to take them to those quarters.
Very well, will do. We will also bring food and nourishment in the morning, but it is rather late. I imagine you all must want to take some respite here this night.
I'm just gonna, and then before we part, I'm gonna say one thing to Toby.
Yeah.
And I want to whisper it really quiet. And I'll say, Toby, consequences aside, all that you 3 do here will reflect on me. So just keep that in mind as you act as whatever voice of reason I'm sure you will be. And that's all.
Okay. You're able to give that warning or guidance Tobirama's way. And now you all find yourself confined to rather luxurious quarters. So this containment's certainly not harsh, but you are not free to leave, though you are welcome to converse with the individuals in your current company, or spend time however you wish. But it is fairly late. You all may be interested in resting, but it is probably just past midnight or so. And the other half of your party is being contained in a separate room down the hallway. What would any of you like to do?
We've been told that we're not allowed to leave. That's something that was said to us.
Yes, the Selethar asked you to all wait here for further instructions, and if you attempt to leave or become a nuisance, you will be relocated to the prison cells below the keep.
Okay.
But the doors are shut behind you, and you guys have the freedom to exist within your quarters how you like. Although with the shuffling of footsteps outside, I will say you guys notice that guards are being posted outside each of your rooms.
Drew's gonna go crack one of the windows and like peek his head out and see like just like look around outside of where we are.
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check for me. 18's really good. I'll move you here for a brief moment to highlight kind of, again, the city you find yourself in, and you are specifically in rather high elevation within this keep of Nightlamp Palace. And it looks like with the corridor you guys are in, the guest suite that Jiri, Roulette, and Tobirama are being contained within, the view is a beautiful view, though not of the city. You guys are looking out westward over a large kind of garden terrace area where there are gardens and gazebos out back where this is sort of an open terrace balcony kind of probably 80 feet below you, where there are various sculpted trees and hedges. A rather beautiful area where many Nimberthil elves probably spend some leisure time back there, but no view of the city specifically.
All right, I'll pop back in and be like, all right, guys, don't worry. We could survive the fall if we needed to escape.
I mean, I do kind of agree we should scope out whatever's in here or outside, because Toby, I didn't actually hear what Telperion said to you, but I'm assuming that we're following his lead, kind of just staying put, listening to the law kind of thing.
Yeah, it was actually kind of funny because, he usually likes to speak in our heads, so I was surprised to hear him just
do that.
Whisper.
That's why I said, oh.
But, no, he was just saying, like, tensions seem really high, and how we act will reflect on him. So, be careful.
Jerry's on the bed.
Yeah, Jerry's bouncing on the bed.
Oh my God, can we move those?
Testing the spring strength. Are these beds string, or are they springs? Are they straw? What kind of bed situation we got in this elf land?
Leaves. You're muted or something.
Christopher, you're muted.
Your headphones.
Yep, I totally was muted. It is densely packed with feathers, and therefore, although soft, is rather firm and holds very well. So rather comfortable. Definitely better than any spring or straw mattresses that might be generally made available to publics in like an inn or tavern.
Okay, I hop off and almost land on Roulette, but no.
Perfect.
So yeah, I guess we're just exploring the room, looking around.
Sure. Yeah, there's changing chambers, various beds and kind of overhang canopies. Again, very luxurious quarters in this space. Mostly stonework and walls, very pristine wooden floors, high thread count rugs, etc. Very opulent quarters. Not the worst prison cell, if you had to call it such.
I forgot I'm carrying a rug around on my back. Guys, I mean, this place is cool and all, but maybe we should go like hop out the window and check out the town. Let's do something. I'm already getting stir crazy.
I think let's just bed down for the night and see if maybe in the morning we can, I don't know, go out for breakfast or something, or at least order in something nice from these guards, because they're going to need to feed us, and assuming if they're keeping us here for a while. I think maybe bedding down for the night is probably just a quick, easy thing to do. unless we're going to hear from Telperion, I think we just kind of wait for his signal.
We could message people while we wait. Toby, you want to message some people?
I would love to if I could. I am all out of magic for the day, Jiri. Unfortunately. So if you want to, write up some messages, I can send them out in the morning.
No, it sounds like we have nothing to do but sleep.
I'm not mad about it for tonight at least. Perhaps tomorrow we might try and figure something else out, but it is nice to be back in our realm to sleep for once.
Jiri, can your little shadow friend deliver messages? Or
Oh,
no?
probably. We could send Shadow Moby to do stuff. He's pretty sneaky, just like me.
Gotcha. Not that I have anything to send at the moment, but it's good to know if we need something hand delivered by Shadow.
Are you sure? Because that could be fun. Even as like a joke.
Maybe not the first night, maybe the second night if we're still here from the second night. I think we can warm up to these guards outside and then maybe do a joke.
Oh, we should play a joke on them. It'd be really funny.
We could. Interesting.
All right, let's brainstorm ideas before we go to bed, Roulette.
I'm just gonna pick up any small knickknack. Jir, can you bring your shadow friend forward?
Okay, Shadow Moby, come here. I summon Shadow Moby.
You see the familiar, barely visible steam with hints of dark kind of particles within appear.
I'm gonna run to the other side of the room in a quiet little spot. I'm gonna enchant whatever tiny object, a pen or a piece of paper or whatever it is. I'm gonna run back. Jiri, can you? And I functionally don't know if this works. Jiri, can you have Shadow Moby tap this?
Oh yeah, easy.
Is Shadow Moby a creature?
Shadow Moby can not only carry and shuffle things around, can definitely interact with things. So as they tap the item, what happens?
It's just a fart noise. It's literally just a fart noise that emits from a piece of paper.
Perfect.
Jerry, this is good to know. I didn't know your shadow friend had any kind of tangibility to its interactions, but okay, I've got ideas. I'm just gonna start brainstorming, but I'm also that's it. It's midnight, bedtime.
Yeah, I'll brainstorm with Roulette for a little bit, and then maybe we'll head to sleep eventually.
Okay, you guys are
and
welcome.
We'll bring
to do
Toby
so.
in too for his advice.
Okay. How about the other room? Rome and Telperion. Kinsala will certainly have thoughts as well, but any topics you guys are eager to discuss right out the gate?
We get in the room, and and Kinsala would gently feel my telekinesis on his body, like pushing him backward. And then I say, "Forgive me for this, everyone." And I take a sliver, and I levitate a curtain up, and I throw my sliver so hard at just like a big target that's on a wall hidden behind a curtain. And I yell for a second, like,
yeah, just a moment of frustration and needing to get some physical stress relief. You're able to do so. After you do so, Kinsala will just kind of come up to you and just like put his hand on your shoulder. Just camaraderie.
Machinations of politicians disgust me. What was that, Rome?
Rome's gonna transform into a black cat.
Yes.
Okay.
Like kind
Perfect.
of like rotted wood kind of looking, like, it's like can't really tell if it's a cat or if it's made of something else.
Very cool.
And she's gonna stalk around the room looking for like cracks under doors to kind of slip out of.
Okay. Go ahead and make a general investigation check using Rome's investigation, since you maintain your mental capabilities in wild shape form.
Rome, the crack behind that bookshelf is just a secret chamber, but there's nothing in there.
You notice that as Telpier, as you're sniffing around at it, as you do sense like almost like as you're purring, you hear like a strange echo next to the bookshelf, and you see that there is like a recessed chamber hidden in the stonework behind it, but no way out of the room. The doors are all very well fit in their spaces, so there's no like thick cracks under them, maybe a half inch or so, nothing a cat could slip through. There are various windows in the space that, should they be pried open, could be room enough for a cat to jump out. But so there are avenues out of here, but perhaps nothing easily available into like the corridor.
Okay, I paw at the window.
You are welcome to do that. You just hear the tapping of glass, Kinsalo and Telperion, as she does that.
I like open the latch and lift it with my mind. So it's an open window room, but I don't know that I'd advise running through it right now.
But you definitely see the window unlatch and open as Telperion kind of waves it from a few dozens of feet away. And as it opens, I could have you make a perception check as well, Rome.
Sure thing.
As because this chamber is located at the end of the hallway, there's a slightly different view available. 18 is great. So I will again shuffle us back over to this map temporarily. And so you are all being held in Nightlamp Palace in the western side of the city, the one side of the city that does not have kind of an entry gate to it. But where the other guest suite kind of looks westward over a terrace, the end of the hallway looks more in the north and northeastern direction. And you have this glorious view of off held in the tree cover above and outward. You see the Preserver's Athenaeum, this very large, wide, beautiful structure, which serves as kind of the library archives section of the city. You look down, and unlike the westward side where there's a terrace, this is a much steeper drop, not 80 feet to a balcony terrace situation, but possibly 200, 300 feet down to the next kind of top of a archway terrace that would be like the logical next place to land should you try to descend further down and further down into the kind of city ground floor level.
So it's like a balcony, and then are there like branches of trees that kind of overhang from the balcony?
There probably could be, with a successful acrobatics or athletics kind of jump from a cat form, you could potentially reach a nearby tree bough. That might be risky.
I'm just gonna hang out on the balcony and kind of bathe in moonlight.
Okay. You are welcome to do that. Okay. Telperion, while you and Kinsalo are still inside for a moment, he just says, not that I really understand anything of what's necessarily going on in your culture, but with your frustration right there and that guy Meyerlight, I imagine something rather significant just took place. Are we in trouble? Are we in danger? What's kind of the landscape right now politically?
I would say you're not in danger. I don't fear for your safety at all, actually. I mean, worst case scenario, you could, I'm sure I'll leave the palace tonight I might advise you to if I was nervous on your behalf, but I'm really not. The loon songs are the ones in trouble. My mother specifically the positionality of our house is threatened by Myelite's actions. I think he used me as a very convenient piece to make an argument that he's been dwelling on for some time, to try to get himself elected to replace my mother as Aranil. So they will certainly be doing more politicking outside of just whether or not I'm in trouble. I also, again, with the way that conversation went, more of the council members supported me than I could have really hoped for, and that went better than I thought. Only 2 were significantly opposed to my actions. Time might tell if we could persuade them otherwise. Myelite, it doesn't seem like we could right now, because he has been blinded as if his son was the only one killed that day. So again, you're not in trouble. Politically, my family is in a difficult situation, but I'm here in this room, unable to talk to them about it.
And I've heard you mention Doran's name before, but that's his late son, yeah?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I forget if we've addressed this very much in the past, but I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It is still rather fresh. Was not unrelated to why I left. There's little to do here but to dwell on it. And then, of course, to have it thrown back at me because I would prefer to move on from a path of revenge and hatred. I don't think that's what Doran would want, but as you heard in there are many arguments for what people think Doran would want, so...
He just kind of gives your shoulder a kind of tender squeeze and nods in acceptance of what you're saying.
I'll give it back. I'll give him a squeeze back. But, Rome, is there anything... I mean, welcome to the material plane. I know you're in cat form, so you can't understand or respond back, but I wonder if this feels familiar to be here. I don't really expect an answer, but I just kind of throw that out
I'm gonna
there.
have her like kind of purr and like kind of curl up next to you, just kind of like wanting to be pet.
I'll definitely give Cat Rome a ton of pets and find it comforting. I mean, Kinsalo, as you said, you might not have understood some of the context there. Is there any other questions you have? Otherwise, we could just rest for the evening.
Well, I guess my next question might be like, they suggested that there might be some vote under the light of the full moon in 2 days' time. Are we to remain in here for that whole time?
Unless otherwise stated, like I told you, if I thought you were in danger, I might advise you leaving now through that window with Rome, but I will not go anywhere. And as my guests and those under the protection of House Loonsong, it wouldn't bode well for you to leave or to show anything but consideration for the laws that are being placed and enacted right now. I can certainly
I imagine me departing all of a sudden wouldn't do wonders for our effort to potentially mend the bridge between our peoples.
No, and I apologize for the sticky situation, but I hope I warned you ahead of time it wouldn't be easy. I think the trial of waiting here 2 days is frankly a better one than, could be worse. And I think that, like I said, there were more of them on our side than could have hoped for, really. So I think you showed yourself well, and it's not going to be easy for an elf to forget the death of his firstborn son, and we definitely poked him today, or stabbed. I also do trust my family. They are exceptionally resourceful. My mother is one of the most calculating people I know, so I don't think they will be idle for the 2 days. We could train, we could try to jog Rome's memory if she's ever been here. I mean, we can maybe even summon books to us from the archives. So we don't have to be idle for 2 days. I hope Roulette will find it and Tinka in her rooms.
Can I pause for a really quick second? You keep saying 2 days. I think what's the villain said something's gonna happen, like judgment will happen at the full moon festival or something.
Yeah, just the under the light of the full moon is when they will meet, which now that it's technically early, way before dawn on the 23rd, it will be all of the 23rd, all of the 24th, the end of the 24th would be the full moon.
Everyone's vaguely aware of like that we all know when that was happening. And
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, if you're confident that waiting here won't put us in danger, and hopefully will be the next possible step I can take to help foster any goodwill, I'll certainly trust you in that. So
You could fly away if things are looking dangerous. We can't fly. But I do think actually you abiding here will do a lot for our cause, you specifically.
and you think we could, I'm not much of a reader, but since I met you all, there is something on my mind that I would love to potentially read about or look into. You think we could maybe see tomes being brought our way from your archives?
I do. We have the Athenaeum, which is, one of my sister's favorite places. So it shouldn't be any, large chore for them to bring us a few texts if we can think of what we'd like.
Yeah. Maybe your sister could bring them herself. She was pretty friendly compared to some of the other elves regarding us. I'd love to see her again too.
Yeah, we could try to summon her. I don't know, this restriction that placed upon us to stay here, I don't know if they'd like her coming here. I'm not sure, but I can certainly inquire.
Yeah.
Even in the morning.
I'd like to get the inside scoop on our returning prince. I'm sure she has plenty of stories to tell.
I'm sure she has plenty she's thinking right now.
Cool.
Camera cuts to her searching through her archives.
Yeah. Well, I am pretty exhausted. You just want to bed down for the night, I guess?
I'm certainly going to need to have some quiet time to think and have of all the nights I wish I could sleep, this is one of them, but I'd love to stay unconscious for a little while longer than my usual time. But yes, let's relax for the night. Rome, please let us know if you need anything.
I'm going to go back to the balcony and sleep out on the balcony.
Okay. You are welcome to. As you all start to bed down for the night in a rather way more luxurious sleeping situation than you've probably had in quite a while, certainly more than even in Corital. So perhaps months. It's more luxurious than Forest Hollow, or the inns at Ostenis. So possibly the most opulent and cozy sleep you may have, maybe even since the campaign started. But is there anything anyone wants to do before they start to fall asleep? If not,
in the middle of the prank discussion with Jiri, I will just briefly consult with him about his water jug canteen thing, and just start the cogs moving about how to make something like that work.
Okay. And as you guys fall asleep, Roulette, could I have you make a Constitution saving throw for me?
Don't burp fire in the castle, please.
Because I forget if I do this beforehand.
You are welcome as a reaction using your inner resolve to grant yourself advantage before the roll takes place.
Yeah, I would do that. I feel like Roulette's probably on edge. She's not near Telperion, who is supposed to be guiding this whole thing. So I'm assuming I would be more clenched than usual.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow. 16.
Even with a 16,
Yikes.
you find sleep exceedingly easily, considering a wave of exhaustion hits you, and you do suffer one level of exhaustion as your unnaturally boosted constitution that had been granted to you by the fairy dragon does wear off.
Sad.
It is sad. But that point of exhaustion will heal overnight as you find sleep very easy to come by this night. But otherwise, all of you fall asleep. Toby Rama, no specific dreams plague your mind tonight. Jiri, no memories or traumatic mental states necessarily hinder you. But Telperion, is there anything specifically you want to do before you set up a trance?
I think I'll go to the window with Rome for a little bit. Just kind of stare out at the city that I haven't really seen in a while. Obviously going to be super reflective and meditative. I'm probably going to be the last one to sleep because I know my trance will take the least amount of time. So I'll probably go around and like try to gain some comfort from methodically kind of making sure all of my arms and armor are like organized away, cleaned off. And then I'll kind of amuse myself by just going around the room for a minute, just like being back in my room. And then I'll start trancing. I'll give Kinsalo the bed and I'll just trance on one of the couches. And yeah, I can tell you what I got my trance to if that's your next question.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you start your trance, what do you guide your thoughts toward?
I think I've been thinking about Doran a lot lately because I've been talking about him a little bit more than usual. I think I'm gonna, even more to his memory, which is where I've been lately. I'm gonna guide my thoughts towards my mother and my family, who I set out to do good, and I can't tell how that's landing. It's obviously all the cards aren't on the table yet, but I'm thinking about how I potentially made things very difficult for them. So I think my thoughts are with them and whatever they're about to have to do for the next 2 days when I can't really help them fix this mess that I brought to them. So probably just like memories of them and also trying to reassure myself, like my mom is an exceptional politician. So and just thinking about all of their strengths and trying to put faith in those things.
You guide your thoughts toward memories of your family, thoughts of your family, concern and stress at circumstances you may have placed them in, even if you firmly believe your actions to be altruistic and good for your people. And slowly, over the course of these thoughts, your memories of them, in your mind, these memories come to you in color, true vivid memories. But over the course of guiding your thoughts, you just almost like watching a movie and the saturation is dimming. All your thoughts get darker and darker in hue and light level. And eventually, there seems to be like a large darkness that sprouts out in your visions of these people. And you see it take a shape, almost like a shadow being cast from behind you.
So I see a shadow cast from behind me over my family.
Yes.
Am I lucid in any fashion?
Yeah, I would say you could guide your thoughts toward the curiosity that might take place in that situation.
Yeah, I would try to turn around and identify the source of the shadow or the shape of it.
You turn your vision away from your family and toward behind you. And you see not the surroundings you were just looking at in your memories, but you see the Feywild behind you in all of its multicolored beauty, the twilight sky, the sapphire forests, the amaranthine colored sweeping mists through the landscape in the distance. but there is something blocking the sun, and it is moving towards you, getting larger and larger. And as it gets larger, moving in your direction, it occludes more and more of the ever-present twilight sun's light. And you're not surprised this was casting shadow into the other direction, as now it has become this dark void in the sky, almost sucking the color from all around it, and what looks like wings spreading on each side, slowly flapping as something very large in the distance is moving towards you. And as it continues to approach, it just grows larger and larger, slowly starting to block out more and more of the horizon. And finally, when it is some dozen hundreds of yards away, its form is immense. And this doesn't look like something from memory. Normally, you guide your trance through thoughts, ideas, or most of the time, memories from your past, even trying to draw on potential reincarnations that may have come before you in this life, but primarily thoughts that you can clearly remember. And this is not something you have encountered before. And as this shape loosely takes the form of some dark, shadowy, what you can only describe as the form of some draconic figure, you catch a glint of its eyes, ruby red. And I need you to please roll a d4 for me, as well as a wisdom saving throw.
Oh my god, my specialty. I rolled a 2 on the d20, d4. Okay. And a wisdom saving throw. Oh, it was an 18. It went down to a 6. So it's even 6.
2 hours into this trance, you can't explain it. This phenomenon that does not seem to be based in memory is like instilling a deep seed of fear in your heart. And you don't know why. It feels unnatural, almost like it's being forced upon you. And once this 2 hours of your trance are concluded, you wake from your trance, sitting on your pillow in your room, and you are considered frightened in this moment for reasons unknown to you. And your trance has been interrupted to a state where you would need to start your trance over to gain the benefits of this rest. And you just look around your room, and the sensation of fear slowly starts to, you gain composure over your emotions, but you're not sure what that was. Very strange.
Yeah, I'm also not used to being afraid. So like that. So I'm incredibly shaken. I look around the room for Kinsalo and Rome. Are they kind of where I left them?
Exactly where you left them. Rome's sleeping cat form is still active, though it can't be maintained forever. She will probably eventually form back into her natural state, but still in cat sleeping form. So you know it hasn't been too long since you started trancing, and Kinsalo's deep asleep on the bed you left him in.
I'm gonna go to my door. I'm gonna try to open it.
Okay, you're welcome to. As you open it and pry it open, yes, Prince, is there something you need? One of the Selethar Rangers posted at your door. There's one on each side. They both kind of regard you with a side look, but one of them greets you.
Do I recognize either of them?
Yeah, you know the one on the right that's speaking is Malwyn, just a common attendant often posted in this keep. The other's less familiar, but you've probably seen him around before.
I just want to like hold out my hand to him, like a grip, you know.
Yes, Prince. What is it?
An uncomfortable trance this evening. Just wanted to make sure all is well out here.
Yes, there has been no commotion since the night's gathering. I'm sorry you've not found peace within your trance.
I think I'll just try again, but just wanted, honestly, to talk to someone for a moment before resuming. And it's good to be home, even if in odd circumstances. So thank you for your duty.
Of course, I thank you for your accommodating our need to contain you all. I personally hope it is not long lasting.
You know, my parents, I think they'll get us out of it. So no stress.
I have confidence in the same.
So I'm gonna leave him, go to the bed, and I'm gonna, again, never scared like this. So I'm really wild and, weirded out. So I'm gonna sit on the bed Kinsalo's on, just to like kind of be by someone solid. And I'm gonna sit there for probably like 25 minutes, kind of like working myself up to like try to go back to my trance.
Okay.
And then I kind of think to myself, like, all right, no time to be a coward now. We can do this. We've done it before. And then I will try to go back to my trance for the night.
Okay. You settle back into your trance once more, and you are able to enter your trance again, guiding your thoughts toward whatever they wish to go to. And that strange phenomenon does not take place again.
I'll guide him to the Four Winds this time, and
Okay.
I don't want to go back to my family after that, watching them get in the shadow. So I'll think about how my friends are doing, and kind of like also, oh yeah, I've been thinking about them, but I really have to think about them, and like just try to like think about how I want to try to give them comfort in the next days, but also how I'm going to look to them for comfort too after whatever just happened.
Okay. You think to your allies, your friends, new friends in Kinsalo and Rome that you brought with you from the Feywild, as well as some of the original members of the Forsaken Winds. Could I have you make an intelligence saving throw?
Oh yeah. Ooh, 21.
Very good. You feel almost like a pressure as darkness begins to creep in from the side. But you strengthen your mind, drawing from some reserves of possibly even your enhanced mental prowess. And not choosing to look back, you focus on your friends and the darkness subsides. And your trance completes, needing to essentially take 6-ish hours worth of trance time rather than the normal time. But eventually, dawn and later comes, and it is now the morning, the true morning in the classic sense of Turdas, the 23rd of sun's dusk. You are all woken somewhat early by a rap on each of your doors as Selithar attendants bring up trays and plates and silver and pewter domed serving containers of smoked salmons and large hearty cooked mushrooms, as well as other assorted vegetables and grains and breads with various spreads and dressings, as well as a few pitchers of porcelain, nice, beautiful, intricate porcelain pitchers of water. And they announce to each of you that this is your breakfast meal being brought to you. If you need anything else that is within their ability to accommodate, they will happily oblige. And for you to only say the word to the attendants outside your doors. But refreshment is brought, and you are all awake this day, well rested. You have completed a long rest successfully. Though Telperion, as you wake, and you didn't notice it until now, perhaps with some curiosity at the night's events from your trance, but your head has been throbbing and hurting. And as you trace back, it kind of feels like ever since the council meeting from the night before, just kind of a lingering, annoying, frustrating headache that isn't really dulling, but growing in strength. But you still feel rested. It's just kind of a nuisance to you, this headache. But the rest of you, as you are, and I don't think I ever necessarily moved us back to the suites page, but what are all of you doing? What would you like to do in this morning?
I'm gonna go to the cell tower and be like, all right, so what are the parameters here? Can our companions join us here for some time? Do we have to all be separate? Could I go to them, if not the case of all us joining, just to give them a comfort for a little while?
I do not believe we are under orders to allow you to freely go back and forth between rooms, but if there is specific conversation you wish to take place, we can escort one or more of you back and forth occasionally, though I recommend not abusing that capability. Otherwise, we can make available to you whatever you wish, if food, refreshment, materials for amusing yourself. We are under orders to keep you contained here until the Mooncrest Council can meet on the morrow's night. For as that vote takes place on House Leader Meyerlight's contention, they will also debate and deliberate on what to make of these guests, whether to escort them outward away from our culture or retain them here for further investigation, even questioning.
All right, well, my needs are few. I would like to go to the other room and spend a little time with them. We won't freely move too much back and forth, but I would like to give them comfort as they are novel here. This one requires texts from the Arcanium, if possible, and this one, and I point to Rome, requires a couple interesting plants to study while she's here. Any will do. Anything novel, interesting. Could you send attendants to fetch some of those?
Of course, Prince. We'll be happy to. Again, all of this conversation taking place in Elvish, no common being spoken.
And then I'll kind of facilitate Kinsala describing what texts he might want to an attendant who I think would come. And then I'll try to exit soon after to go to these guys early in their breakfast thing. So like whatever plans they're trying to hash, I can help support.
Before Toparian shows up, Drew wakes up and he's gonna say to the other two, "All right, guys, let's go. Let's do something. I'm feeling ready to go. Let's have some quick breakfast and get out of here. You guys ready? Come on, Roulette. Come on, Toby." And like, if you guys are like in bed or like lounging or anything like that, he's like gonna grab you by the arm and like drag you to your feet.
Jerry, you know Tilparian's gonna be up early. He barely sleeps anyway. He'll come escort us wherever we need to go. So give him a couple minutes. I'm sure it'll be by soon. Anyway, I wanted to start talking to you, and I'm just going to just dive into the mechanics of something that's somewhat related to the stopper, but something I want to craft first, specifically to do with my flail. Just light conversations over breakfast, and making sure I understand what Jiri wants from this quick stopper thing. Which, Jiri, correct me if I'm wrong, you just want it to be a bonus action to uncork it?
Or no, free like interacting with an object. Yeah,
Perfect.
like thumb activated to like
Perfect.
open up instead of like, because I'm imagining it's like corked or something like that, and the reason why it's like an action, bonus action or whatever it is because it's like you got to yank it out, right?
Yeah.
So like if there's like a way to like pick, and then it just pops open, spring loaded. So Jiri will be entertained with describing that, and he will be situated for the moment.
Very well.
I asked Telperion, do you think we're gonna be in here for the whole day?
Unfortunately, I do. Is there anything you would like me to ask? I could ask from the Arcanium on anything of your interest.
Well, I don't like being idle, and would love to spend some time growing some plants for the community. So I was wondering, I could do it from the balcony. I would just need to know a place in which I could maybe provide a gift
Oh,
to the Mooncrest elves.
I would say go to the balcony and choose a spot and start growing. I don't think anyone will understand what you're doing for a while. Nor do I really think we need to send a message out that you're doing it. Maybe they'll come tell us to stop if need be. But I mean, also I have ample things in here. I mean, the soil in here if you want to try to craft something, But yeah, I would just try.
Okay, I'm gonna head to the balcony and kind of scope out an area.
Okay. You can definitely, again, some of the forest floor where most of the public square and general city ground floor is a few 100 feet below you, but at least within this small balcony off this window, you can definitely see nearby branches. You could potentially grow things around the archway of the window above you. Limited availability, but depending on what your capabilities are, you could definitely try to grow flora. What are you trying to accomplish?
So I wanted to be able to cast plant growth and find an open area about like 100-foot radius and begin to grow an orchard.
Ooh, very cool.
Of like peaches and plums and different types of apples, and like have it grow in like kind of a maze pattern, so it's circular, so you can kind of head in and it'll be like a labyrinth.
Okay.
But I need like
I'll say
so.
Sure, yeah. It looks like it definitely takes varied time sections to accomplish various effects for plant growth. Looks like the range is 150 feet. And so with the canopy floor kind of being a bit further from that below you, the closest thing kind of surface that you can see within 150 feet is probably a small section of spiral staircase around a tree staircase up to the Athenaeum about 100 feet out in front of you. So you could kind of target within the radius of your magic, kind of elevating the beauty of that particular section of staircase to grow. Might be hard to accomplish like an orchard, but certainly like ivy and vines that could be fruit bearing could be kind of wrapped and warping around that staircase in a very beautiful way, according to your judgment.
Okay, given those limitations, I grow like passion fruits and hops and like grapes and things like that. It's like all like fruit.
So many grapes.
Very cool. You are welcome to do so. While you're doing so, as the Celethar attendants have come to your room to ask what you need, and Telperion suggested that Kinsalo had some research he was interested in, Kinsalo actually comes up to you, Rome, briefly and says, "Hey, Rome, sorry to interrupt whatever you're doing here. What was the name of that figure that you mentioned from your past who was a Navariel like me? Do you remember his name?"
Odion.
Odion. Did you know of a last name at all, or any kind of identifying traits of he or his people?
I do not recall a last name. The only name that's stuck in my head is Odion. But I do know that he was a winged elf, similar to yourself, but I'm unsure whether or not there's connection.
Okay, thanks, Rome. And he will leave you to continue your plant growth, and rushes back to the Celethar Ranger and says, and he will just speak in common, though he does understand Elvish. He is more fluent and natural in his common, and says, I don't know how familiar your culture is with me or my ancestry, but I know myself to be an Avariel, though I have very little information on the subject. If you have any tomes that reference Avariel or the history of Sirenita or Airdrie, or Akkadi specifically, I would be very interested in anything you have on the matter. For example, past Avariel civilizations or cultures. I'm hoping you guys might have more information on my past lineage than back home does. And the Selethar attendant will nod, take the request, and otherwise depart, unless there's anything else. But at this day, you guys, an hour goes by, and you do get the sense that this is likely to be a very uneventful day. So what are any of you interested in pursuing for the course of this day?
So
Not extensive downtime, but downtime in a sense, to be sure. What are you interested in having?
can we go through me arriving back with these three?
Yes, of course. They will shuffle you over to the room that Toby, Rama, Roulette, and Jiri are in. And are you guys having tried to escape the room at all? It seems like that was something Jiri was trying to propose, but then there were some conversations of the mechanics of the stopper. So what does Telperion and the Selethar Ranger walk into?
Yeah, so like if you're ready for it, I've got the right stuff prepared. If you'd like to get your memory back about all the time in the Fey Realm, Roulette. If that'd be
I fucking forgot about that.
God.
Roulette probably yeah, she's like dove right back into work.
Or would
Toby,
that be distracting to get that kind of revelation right now? Or
no, any you know me, any information, any knowledge I can get is welcome in this head. Yeah, is this like a risky thing?
Nope. Just I think pretty straightforward. I've got two options. I'm going to go with the less taxing one first, but
of course.
And I will cast Lesser Restoration, hoping to rid Roulette of the condition of memory loss.
As you focus your Lesser Restoration magic on Roulette, you feel like a surge of lighter air take your lungs. You feel more comfortable in your space as you better adjust to the diminished constitution you have now, as that kind of Lesser Restoration kind of softens the blow of that deflation, so to speak. However, you still cannot quite recall your time spent in the Feywild.
Toby, I feel incredible. If I could order one of those every morning, I think I would, but I know it probably takes a hit on anything else you can do. I don't necessarily think it fixed my mind, though.
You don't remember how we met, Kinsalo or Rome?
I barely know those names.
Okay, so I will then use Remove Curse on Roulette.
You focus your Remove Curse into her mind, and you do feel kind of a tangible pressure there. You've used this spell in various ways before, ridding Jiri of lycanthropy, possibly trying to remove mental blocks from Jiri as well when Jax first appeared, and you feel a similar pressure there, like definitely a clouding fog over memory. And as you remove the curse, mist starts to be drawn from various orifices in Roulette's mind and through her ears and out her nose. And as you kind of siphon that from her, Roulette, your memory is fully restored, and you do recall, though with the natural and normal fuzzying of memories from the Feywild that even elves experience. You do now. Kinsalo, you recall the bonding. You recall removing or releasing Rome from her vessel, the fight with various individuals, and your memories are restored.
I feel like I'm just connecting the dots between my notes and now what I'm picturing.
Yes.
That did it, Toby. Where?
Yeah.
They're. Yeah.
I think they're just in another room.
That worked.
I figured that might help if we're brought before the Aranel and her council again. If you were able to speak with some clarity.
I count for myself for the past however long we were there. I wonder if Telperian's going to show up.
Can I walk in as you say that?
Well, at
How
some point,
long is
Yuri would
let
have
in?
like tried to get out and like gone past the guards at some point. So I'm curious if I like get turned back.
You definitely do. They're both wielding swords at their side, but just holding kind of stationary guard like spears at their side. And as you start to push past them, they both just like in sequence like extend their elbows so that their spears cross in front of your approach. Sorry, guest of the prince. We are under strict orders to retain you here in this guest suite. Are you finding it not to your liking?
Oh, I want to do something. You know what I mean? I gotta stretch my legs. So I'll be like going this way now.
Unfortunately, I cannot accommodate that request. You are free to stretch your legs within the confines of your room. I think you would find it rather expensive considering other accommodations we could have made available. Should be plenty of room to stretch your legs within.
Give him very like squinty eyes and then like return to the room. And then when Telperion enters into the room, he sees Jiri like halfway, like stepping out the window. Like it's opened and like there's a leg out.
Can I pull you back and make you and like have you do a strength check and see if I pull you onto the bed out of from the window? Telekinetically.
All right, sure.
So Jiri, should I push or pull? I pull you and you just laying on the bed.
Yep.
How are we, everyone? How was your evening?
Restful. Are we staying here for a while?
The good news is, after days in the Feywild of uncertainty and all that, we have 2 relaxing days ahead of us where we just can rest. But Jiri, I am here to find ways to entertain you because I'm sure you are going mad. So I want to kind of tell you what some options are. I've found the Salifah very accommodating in things I've asked. So Roulette, Toby, Jiri, if you want any tomes from the Arcanium, you could describe a topic and they would bring you some texts. Maybe my sister would be able to stop by in a little bit. Jiri, if you want, we could sprawl, fight a little bit to entertain you. I actually do have a favor I could ask, but is there anything you would like to request, any of you, that would make your days here less taxing? Books on Elvish Smithcraft.
I have all my
I'd love maybe just for light reading if I could get some tomes about religion. I mean, in general, whether it's
Sure, you have more than you asked
religions
for.
or if you have also anything outside of typical elven practice.
We could do that.
I'm sure there's a mathematical term for it in world, but runic pairing, basically having a rune over here, linking it to something over here, and having them interact in some way, shape, or form. I'll start to talk to Delperion, and then I'll say, like, if you just
eyes glaze over.
Get me a librarian.
Well, I think actually that my sister's library might have something there, so I'll have an attendant stop by there if she's not here. All right. Jiri, do you want to request any texts on curses or anything? Wolves?
Oh, Jiri,
Yeah.
do you think they might have the sequel to whatever book you have?
Oh yeah, there's a part 2 to these books. Yeah, that book. Give me a book on curses. Give me a book on wolves.
All right. I'll compile a list of topics and I'll hand it to the Salifar to give to an attendant. And I do slip in one of my own, which is Elvish trances, and the in and out of trancing, which I've never thought about reading about before.
Right.
So I kind of send that off. And then I have something else I want to say to Jiri.
You think we could get a portal in here? They put a portal so that we could go to Koital for a day or something like that, or just an hour while we wait.
We would need our friend Korik, which would probably be a bit too much.
What if we messaged Korik?
You can send as many messages as you want, as Toby can accommodate. Jiri, and I think this to you. And I think you hear in your head, when it's dark out, if you want to go wind form and vanish out the window for a little while, you probably could, but you will be extremely recognizable. So just be careful if you do an adventure like that. I'm not encouraging it, but you might, if you're going to go crazy, that's one thing that might result in the least bit of trouble.
Yeah, but nobody would recognize me as a cloud. So, like, couldn't I do it, like, right now?
I'd rather you do it at night when Selithal is not likely to walk in here with books we just requested back. You know what I mean?
Oh, we'll dress Elfie up to look like me.
I have no part in this. I just want you to know what I would say is your best idea. But I do have a favor to ask. Can I hurt you?
You do all the time. So,
A+.
might as well.
Can I do it intentionally this time instead of casually? I have an incredible headache and I need to take it out, and I want to try to like hurt your mind for just a little bit. I'll let you punch me in the face in response. Does that feel like a fair bargain?
No, I don't want to punch you in the face. I want to give you like a liver shot.
You can give me a liver shot, sure.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, I'm just going to levitate you to see if this takes the headache away. And I'll use my telekinetic movement to just try to lift him up 5 feet to see if it makes my headache diminish.
Sure. You are definitely able to conjure your psionics as normal. And it doesn't, that additional strain on your mind does not exacerbate the existing headache, almost seeming with your own personal, rather heightened understanding of your own mental space, seemingly using a different part of your brain almost. It's almost a different compartment, not being affected by this headache.
Okay. So, Jerry, that wasn't the answer. So now I'm going to try a different psionic technique. This one's going to hurt probably in your head. It's going to give you like a headache. Is that okay? And then the liver shot comes after.
I mean, I already have a headache, so go ahead, do your worst.
All right, I'm gonna mind sliver Jiri. So can I have you do a intelligence saving throw? You gotta beat a 14. And if you do pass it, I'll just do it again until you fail.
Jesus.
Okay. 2d6. Here we go. Oh, only 2.
Minimal psychic damage. Jiri, you have this weird mental connection with Telperion, and you almost feel the headache that he's feeling. And you do suffer a little bit of psychic damage due to that. But Telperion, similarly, although you are able to project your anger, frustration, your own headache into Jiri for but a moment, it is still seemingly separate from this headache buzzing in your mind.
All right, Jiri, I got one more try, and then 2 liver shots. Is that fair? Is that fair?
Yeah, but I want an IOU because I don't want to punch you right now. I want to punch you later. When you're least suspecting it.
Yeah.
In the middle of combat.
Okay. Okay, but I get one condition. It can't be while we're in the Moonset Grove. Because I can't have you punch me in front of Selithal Rangers who would then attack you.
That's exactly what I was going to do. Okay. Then I want 3.
2.
2.5.
2. You're already getting 3 in total. Just 2 from this one. This isn't going to hurt.
2 punches and a kick.
Okay, yeah, 2 punches and a kick.
All right, sure. That's in total. And then I punch him, and I do a psionic strike as I make contact with him to try to burn one other type of psionic to see if it relieves the headache.
You are able to trigger your psionic blast. Jiri is, unless he needs to make a strength save to resist getting knocked back or otherwise, I mean, the damage definitely takes place. You have seemingly proven to yourself that you have control over your psionics right now. There's just this strange sensation in your mind still plaguing you.
That wasn't it either, so I just earned 2 punches and a kick for nothing. All right, Jerry, do you want to do one of the liver shots now? That was the arrangement. You could do one now.
No, I want an IOU for all 3 of them.
All right, all 3 outside of the Moonset. Fair?
Okay, but I want it written down and signed by you.
I'll go
And
work
then
on
I need Roulette to be my
notary.
my notary, my witness.
Do you want the Salafar Ranger to be a notary as well?
No, I don't like those guys.
Okay, fair. We write it up now, so for something to do, because I'm just trying to keep Jerry happy. So we'll write it up.
This is the Aerodon slap bet.
Slapsgiving!
Okay, Jerry, I gotta warn you, I wear heavy armor most of the time, so if you want to really do a good liver shot, you're gonna need to do it when I'm not heavy armed. Does that make sense?
Oh, trust me, I've got big plans for these punches and kicks. Just wait.
Yes.
All right, the kicks. None of these are to the face, for the record, right? You said right. I'm writing the contract, and I write in parentheses, no face hitting.
All right, fine.
Okay. Nothing above the neck. How's that?
Okay, nothing above the neck. Deal.
I don't want my
Final offer.
Okay. Yes, there. Just don't mess with the pretty or the hair or the atlas. All that. It needs
the pretty.
protect the pretty.
Sorry to interrupt, Prince. I fear I must escort you back fairly soon. Do you have the list of tomes you all request?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought we sent that already, but yes, I hand it to him.
Oh, excuse me. We're in the middle of something here. Man, these guys are rude.
All right, Jerry, you'll have some books coming. If you need to hit anybody, just talk to Toby and maybe he'll spar with you. He needs to get more in shape anyway, so you guys could like try to do push-up challenge or something. You could use that too. Oh my God, you could challenge the Salafar Ranger to push-up contest, Jerry.
Nah.
All right.
Very well. Yeah, then they escort you back to your chambers where Consalo and Rome are amusing themselves. After about 2 hours, probably, there is a knock on both of your doors handing over various tomes. Anyone that's interested in researching a topic, I'm going to ask for a roll in a second. Roulette specifically, I'm going to ask you, are you interested in putting most of your time this day toward research or otherwise?
I have two things that I'm hoping to get done. One of them I have done, and one of them I have notes from like Chimeras downtime that I want to just like try and potentially just build. It's a fairly simple thing.
So what I would like to request is for you to prioritize one of those. For example, if you are interested in tinkering for the majority of the day, I might want a high enough roll on your research check. Otherwise, that might accidentally take too long before you find useful information. Would you give me a priority or like a time duration you're willing to study and research if you have other priorities you want to make sure to have time for?
What?
Wait, I want to get a sense of what is Roulette prioritizing. If you have a tome gifted to you about runic pairing, some general arcane learning, but you have other things you want to accomplish, I just want to understand what is Roulette going to prioritize her day.
First thing that I want to do, the project is called Smitey Flail Sneaky Launch, on my flail, there's a button, the button that I press to launch the flail head with the chain. I want to be able to add something on my glove that when I press it, presses the button so that I can just do this and it just launches from wherever it is. It'll be on my hip, usually pointing forward. So I want to be able to just like, without actually touching my flail, be able to activate the flail head shooting forward.
Okay, that's a tinkering thing you're interested in, which is kind of in tandem with your runic learning, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, okay. So with that in mind, please give me a for reading and research. I'm tempted to have you guys do like a history or investigation or arcana check. Yours specifically, I'm going to probably ask for arcana.
I am going to be burning a bunch of enhanced abilities today.
Okay, you are welcome to.
I think I get 3 of them for the day. So I'll do 1, and I think it's just advantage for whatever that is. So you said Arcana?
Yep.
19.
With a 19, pretty good roll. Some of the research, there are not extensive tomes available on arcane specific education in this culture, considering they prioritize such divine and natural primordial based magic. Although the librarian is very keen and aware of sections that Minerva specifically has looked into. And so she kind of almost has a section of the library picked out for, this is where we keep the couple arcane tomes. So she makes 2 available to you, which the Selethar Rangers bring your way. You definitely learn some good information about the primary uses for what you would consider runic pairings are glyph work as well as teleportation magic. Those are the kind of the main 2 avenues for when you would want to pair glyphs to either do exactly what you're looking for with your flail, pairing this glyph work to another instance of it to activate an effect like a glyph or defensive glyph might take place, or linking to locations or items to each other with a series of runic inscriptions is another common understanding, though it takes a long time to do that type of thing. Notably, teleportation based magic takes sometimes months, even a year, to try and link 2 locations to each other. So that is some of the information you glean, which is, I would say, very helpful to your tinkering advancements. What else were people looking into?
You're the only one to go.
Yeah, he asked me first.
Religion. And
okay,
I will be doing a similar thing to Roulette. I will be casting Enhance Ability on myself. I will also be giving myself
Guidance.
borrowed knowledge for investigation.
Okay.
To give myself
Very
proficiency
cool.
in that.
Look at these nerds.
I'm aware that I know of Kellenvor. I am just outside of that quite unknowledgeable about other paths of faith in the world.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a religion check with advantage with proficiency.
Okay. So that's just advantage plus 3. 16.
16, you leaf through a couple tomes. Most of these are very heavily elvish pantheon based. The Seldarin pantheon is notably the title of the elvish pantheon. You get various bits of knowledge on deity figures, figures that may not be familiar to you, other ones that are more familiar to you. For example, Corellin Lorethian comes up very often in all of these tomes, as well as his kind of consort Angarad, who famously separated their essence into 3 beings of Sehanin, Halani, and Erdri to better serve the kind of devout follower base they had, into different sections of more natural beauty, animalistic beast, primordial essence, as well as moon reflection, kind of separating their domains to a more diverse population, not only within Ithilwinge culture, but you do see reference to the Alealor culture as well, having revered all those deities as well as though diminishing, other wood elven, even drow elven, and high elven populations of other sub-races of elvish culture do still revere the Seldarin traditions in various degrees, most notably floundering in Bellidonia, where Auroris is such a pinnacle of revering Modera, the sort of primary goddess revered across all of Eredon, has by far the largest worshiper base, though there is still reference to shrines and such in Auroris in Bellidonia. Notably, although beings of death and goddesses that kind of take that domain as their kind of sphere of influence, the Raven Queen is referenced as suspected to have once been of elvish ancestry before she became a deity some millennia ago. It's unknown when that ascension took place. But she holds some camaraderie with other deities of that similar domain. Her despised antithesis is known as the Whispered One, Vecna, who has tried to grasp at power in the past and has failed numerous times and is mostly locked within his demi-plane, deep within the recesses of the Shadowfell, just like the Raven Queen holds power there. There are noticeably 2 more deities referenced, though not much information is given about them. Vol, V-O-L, is kind of understood to be an amorphous representation of death that exists at the fingertips of all living beings. Though lofty language aside, not much tangible is given. As well as Kelemvor is referenced as being another god of death, though takes a very different plane than the Raven Queen, not of the Shadowfell, but of the Null realm or the Fugue plane, as is being referenced to. Not many worshippers of each in popular culture, though Kelemvor, the worship of Kelemvor has been, although diminishing over centuries, millennia, has barely maintained following in Durast specifically, due to the insistent at various regents, kings and queens that have held power in Durast have occasionally tried to facilitate that remaining, even though its worship count has consistently decreased through history. So no very, wildly revealing knowledge, but just giving you a better sense of almost how rare Kelemvor worship is. Not much is reflected, certainly not within these elvish tomes, but
gotcha.
But certainly a kind of, again, a similarity between Vol, the Raven Queen, Vecna in some senses, as well as Kelemvor. Anything you want to do with that information or reflect on or anything?
I imagine this is still taking me a good bit of time. I might try to, if it's something I can do today, if not tomorrow, ask about seeing if there's any tomes about like, what would you call it, planar theory, realmatic theory, because that, I don't think I've heard of the Null realm or the Fugue plane. I don't think that has ever come up to me, so that really piqued my interest.
Perfect. You can start ruminating on that request at the next possible opportunity. Who else was researching a topic?
Jiri wanted a book on werewolves. And
Werewolves.
Curses, werewolves, that kind of thing. And while he's waiting for his book, he's going to be back on the bed practicing his acrobatics, doing backflips and front flips and somersaults and juggling.
Very cool. Go ahead and make, for you, not Arcana. Yeah, I'm just going to have you make a history check as part of your research. 11 is not bad, but nothing necessarily particularly of note. You gain the information, you're reading through stories of where creatures transition, the bloodlines that can affect descendants in various ways, turning people into kind of the shifter race, or passing on the true full power of the blessing or curse of lycanthropy. Various strains of it exist. Wolves, bears, crocodiles, ravens, boars, various versions of lycanthropy, as well as the understanding that if the curse or blessing lasted long enough and was strong enough, could permanently alter the individuals, so that it was not a transformation they could undergo, but rather a permanent fixture of their biology. And some theories suggest that that's where many Villian come from. Tabaxis, Leonin, Gifts, there's Loxodons, all these bestial humanoids. Some theories suggest that is, they owe their ancestry in some part due to lycanthropy long ago, but that's highly unproven and just a thought experiment. I will say the most interesting tidbit you get in your reading is that it is the elvish belief that Oberon, husband of Titania and Archfey, was the first Lycan, and would often take the form of various beasts in his hunts. And that, in theory, not only are Villian theoretically descendants of Lycans, but that Lycans are descendants or blessed by Oberon and carry his gift. Again, theoretical, almost lofty assumptions, or almost just this writer positing ideas, though there seems to be a well explored topic. But
Any
no
stories about
Yeah.
people who became werewolves and didn't know they were werewolves? I think Jiri is like kind of interested in like that aspect of it, or just like stories, that kind of thing.
I would say there are various tales being written. The tomes made available to you are not particularly story books per se, but there are tales, almost like excerpts about a description of this person's experience, or rumor had it there was this individual in Chimeris who this thing happened to. And you get varied accounts of individuals that it was expected of them to undergo a transformation due to their position or stature in a culture. Maybe others were acknowledged that, hey, you came from this lineage, so you are going to be touched by this. Or other individuals that were adopted or born from normal Villian parents and didn't know they would have the affliction, and suddenly underwent changes. So there's varied versions of what you're looking for. People that didn't know they were, and suddenly got that knowledge all of a sudden when something went terribly wrong or surprising one day. But many other indications where it was more controlled, more understood, more expected.
Okay. And I'm assuming Jiri would eventually get bored of that book and bored of like jumping up and down, maybe tired, and so he'll sit and like just try to read Roulette and Toby's mind like Telperion can do. He'll just sit there and like stare at them and try to like read their mind for a while. That's about it.
You start staring at your allies, almost like that game where you kind of just pretend you know what they're talking about, or you make up a conversation that they must be having, like when Toby and Roulette are conversing across the room. You're like, yeah, I do think Jiri's the best. Yeah, I think he's my favorite of the party. You're just like almost pretending that's what they're talking about as you try very hard to read their minds. Who knows if you're able to convince yourself or not that you can accomplish that feat. But is there anyone else? Rome, Flora is made available to you to inspire your plant growth, or to occupy some hobbied interaction throughout the day as well, if you want to almost decorate the very small balcony terrace you stand on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, like, because this takes a very long time for it to become permanent, it's like it's almost like drawing vines like one by one and like wrapping them around the staircase. And I wanted to kind of like create more of like a structure, like that kind of like grows out from the balcony, if by
Okay.
any chance, like almost like a bridge. So to
Yeah, you're
speak.
starting to create a bridge. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I'm just over here trying to grow some fruit, but it happens
Yes.
to grow a bridge.
It happens just can be a way out. Yes, got it. I think the location, the constraints of your plant growth, I think, can absolutely facilitate that type of growth.
Cool.
Although I would like to ask you to make a wisdom check, as this will kind of rule. You're able to accomplish this, but how structurally sound that capability is will kind of be dependent on your spell casting ability in this pursuit.
Is that just a regular whiz?
Yeah, just make a ability check using your wisdom.
Oh, yikes.
Okay, so you definitely are able to have almost roots and vines and thick brush knit together and etch their way out in a way that they support themselves. And you're able to start making that bridge, although even to your mind, it looks maybe not dense, thick enough where you're suspecting I might have to work on that longer for that to support any version of weight to bridge this chasm between us and some of the trees supporting the preserver's Athenium off in the distance. But you've begun that endeavor. Tyrion, I think you were researching something as well.
I wanted to send one out for a book on trancing, and then I do want to also just ask, like, hey, gather me up anything on the Crescent Knights. I haven't been home in a while, and I have new things that I know about them, so I want to try to slot things together. So
okay,
I asked for.
Go ahead and roll me. I'll say 2 different intelligence checks. The first, or history specifically. The first one will be trancing. The second one will be Crescent Knights.
16 for the trancing.
Okay.
And then
yeah, go ahead and roll the other one, then we'll tackle both real quick.
Crescent. Oh, on that one, I'm not going to accept that. Should I use my inspiration? I really want good books on this.
Use it.
We'll have time though. But no, I'm about to have to argue for my people. This is a really bad moment to roll in that one. I'm gonna burn it.
Okay.
I just don't want that one on research for my entire class. Oh, it was a 17 that went down to a 3, so it's only a 9. 9
Okay.
total. It's really questionable. All right.
I will say you start, just for narrative purposes, let's say you start leafing through the Crescent Knight tome first, and it's almost frustrating because everything you're leafing through, none of this is new information to you. You understand the kind of depictions of Crescent Knights of the past, this highly regarded martial form, very specific to your subset of people. And that their abilities were once flourishing and grand, and as much as 10 Selethar could stand as a force almost equivalent to 1,000-person army, and how well adept they were at fighting. Think Mistborn style almost. Very renowned and revered form of fighters, and the diminishing has only set your people unease. And almost you eventually just move to the other book because you're like, this isn't helpful. This is all stuff I know. Descriptions of telekinetics, telepathics, psionics in general, various versions of that, but nothing tangibly useful to your learning. So you move on to the second book. You begin to read about, again, some of the information you know of.
Can I say I'm specifically looking for anything about the future? Because I'm thinking about last night.
Sure. You reflect on the passages talking about what trancing is, as primarily a meditation that your people believe gives you the full benefits of deep rest, because you are entering a more composed and restful stance than normal humanoid mortals are able to achieve with sleep. You are completely turning off your body and allowed to utilize your mind throughout because of how restorative it is to your form. Common theory is you're able to direct your thoughts towards memories, thoughts, ideas, reflections on your surroundings or things you've experienced before. No recorded instances have ever been granted to an elf of the future. And rumoredly, very old in their twilight years, where they trance more often than usual, elven individuals about to pass on to the next life in your culture specifically have made it their goal to reflect into the future. Soraya, the winged deer constellation, very iconic for kind of iconography and cultural symbolism in your people, is representative of the future in general, what may be to come, the interest of the hunt, looking for information, seeking, but never granted visions of the future through trance. However, the more useful and interesting juxtaposition information you're able to get in this research is that rarely visions of the past can be gleaned through deep meditation. Some elves have been able to achieve glimpses into visions or memories of their past selves. It's highly understood to be the case that when elves die, their spirit seed flows into the Arbor Wilds, where Corellin resides, a pocket plane of the Feywild, and they are reseeded to grow in the Feywild. As their spirit becomes whole at once more, it is reincarnated into a future elf. That's why death in your culture is also so uniquely regarded, because should you be slain before your time, it takes significantly exponentially longer for your spirit seed to become whole again for reincarnation. Whereas if someone trances themselves into the afterlife, they can be reincarnated more quickly. That's one reason why Doran's death is so deeply sad, not just to you and your kind of anecdotal experience, but it means he will not be incarnated for centuries, even millennia, because of the way he was taken too early. Whereas individuals like Chiron Allspring, should he trance away in his old age, could be reincarnated as soon as a decade from now. And in this sense that reflecting into your past lives is rare, it can also come with the understanding that you might get negative memories from them. You may inhabit or undergo fears, jarring experiences from those of the past, known as trance terrors, which can assault your mind, even if they are not your memories.
Holy shit.
That's badass.
Okay.
Very rare in their own right.
So let me just clarify that.
Common, I wouldn't say common, but commonplace enough to be at least researched and written about. So those exist, and they know it is a very infrequent thing to plague elven minds occasionally. But
so theoretically, I could have, like what Topirian is debating is, I may have just tranced into my past life's fears.
maybe a past life, maybe further back than that. You're unclear, but it is possible for past lives' memories, whether positive or negative and fearful, to occasionally slip through and affect you.
Okay, that's incredible. Thank you so much. So Piran will be very unsettled as he reads this and wishes he could talk to Minerva.
Okay. Anything anyone else wants to do? one thing I would like to additionally resolve is Roulette, with your fairly fruitful research on arcane glyph pairing, or runic pairing, should I say. Is there something you're tangibly trying to use that information for, or are you satisfied with the knowledge you're gaining that day, or are you putting some hour count toward actively working on something?
I want to actively work on trying to make this glove, make my flail do that.
Go ahead and give me a I think I want this to be a tinkering tool check. You have gained the arcane information that it matches up mathematically with what you understand should be the case. So now it's like, can you implement it? And to see if that's a quick endeavor or will require more time. So I'd like you to make some version of a tinkering check.
Enhance ability.
Okay.
Tool expertise gives +6. Flash of genius +4. Smith's companions another +1.
Holy fuck.
Advantage +11 is what.
Jesus.
So I'm just rolling 2 d20s in here. Add 11 to the higher one.
Okay.
30.
Jesus
With
Christ.
a 30. You work rapidly. I'm going to say it takes you until you start to feel fatigue. Like, this is going to take you, and we can resolve what else may have transpired this day before you all potentially long rest, but you will probably look up from your work, realizing everyone else is getting ready for bed. It's taking you the rest of the day. But as you finalize the final little component, you see a rune on your glove glow, as well as a rune you have placed near the base of your flail head, on likely the shaft, so that you can trigger this more quickly than usual. I'm not sure exactly mechanically what you were going for.
Literally the only mechanical thing I care about right now is when I clip my flail onto my waist, the flail head is always pointing forward. So the specific instance I'm having is if I'm doing a somatic spell and I end my turn without picking my flail back up, if I want to go for an attack of opportunity, I want to be able to press that, launch the flail to hit someone right in front of me. That's the only thing I'm thinking about right now.
I will definitely say, and again, we can figure out the specifics of this, but such a minor thing. This isn't like a significant uncommon item you just enchanted in such a short time. So it is going to be minimal, but a 30 has definitely earned you this improvement that you can definitely attack functionally without the weapon having been drawn into your hand.
The other part of it is just as I'm going through this, I'm writing these notes in parallel to the flask, for Jiri's flask, just basically setting myself up to transpose, okay, press button on glove, activate glyph over here on this other thing, so that I can, in my mind, more easily work on Jiri's task, which is this Jiri's project, which is kind of the same mechanically functional thing. But that's it for the day.
Okay. Along the course of this day, attendants occasionally knock on the door to provide additional refreshment. They let you use water closets down the hall should you need to. You are free to utilize this time outside of your research how you'd like to, if there's other conversations you guys would like to have, but otherwise we will start to get to our second long rest.
At nighttime, I turn into a cloud and I fly around all of the Moonset Grove for an hour.
Okay.
Very slowly.
Okay.
And then I come back.
You open the window, you cast your spell. You are definitely able to do so. And the Selethar Rangers have no way of knowing that this virtually invisible cloud slowly moving through the trees and such is one of their guests that should not be outside their chambers. So I won't require a stealth check or anything from you, although I would want you to make a perception check as you survey the surroundings of the Moonset Grove. it is more bustling at the time of evening you kind of survey than it was when you guys arrived near midnight the night before to the city. Elves are in droves moving throughout the city to and from the Athenaeum, to and from the bathhouses, most notably gathering around the Moondrop Cradle Amphitheater, which it puts on plays and general merriment every single night. It is never without sound and jolly kind of pervading that space. Individuals singing and presenting plays, mostly about classical Seldarin pantheon storytelling of the gods or unique individuals and heroes from the past and such. Yes, there is also a carnival on the outskirts of the city as well that you might notice off in the distance outside the main walls of Athenian proper.
Jerry's going.
But you're able to definitely get a good sense of what kind of commotion, how some elves spend their time in the evenings.
Yeah, I float around and I go to the carnival, and I'm gonna also double cast it so I get 2 hours to float around. I'll watch an archery contest going on, and I'll like get in the way of some arrows so that they miss targets of a particular elf that seems like he should be good at archery.
Retcon.
Just to joke around with some people. Then I'll float back.
It was Jerry all along.
You watch some really elegant elves
absolutely
bowing
love
down
that.
pie.
Yes, some very fabulous, opulent elves stuffing their faces. You are able to do so, and then you are able to return unhindered, slipping back into the window as long as Roulette and Toby didn't close it on you as a prank. And deposit, is that the word? Deposition, when you return from a gaseous state straight to a solid state. Yeah.
Alex.
But yeah, you're able to kind of survey the landscape. You don't see any figures from the council meeting the night before. Maybe they're in various chambers and in council meetings or etc. Not freely walking throughout the space of the city, but yeah, you're able to return.
Kinsalo as we're winding down for the night.
Yeah.
All right, so Kinsalo, I just earned 2 kit punches and a kick from Jerry because I have this wicked headache, and I was trying my psionics on him, and none of them seemed to be the one that worked. So I have another psionic I haven't tried yet, and I'd like to try it on you if you don't mind. It won't hurt, but it will be an invasion of privacy.
Okay.
Would you mind?
Is there anything I should prepare myself for? I assume you won't hurt me without. Yeah. Okay.
It won't hurt. I'm just gonna read your mind. I'll get in there and read the surface thoughts that you're thinking. If it seems like, and then maybe I'll try to push a little deeper. But you can rebuff me, and I can get on out of there before I'm in there for too long.
He will set down his tome where he was leafing through notes of Airdrie and Akkadi, the goddess that supposedly fused with Sirenita to form the deity that most bird folk call their own, as he is mid-research as well. And he sets that tome down and kind of sits upright and says, okay, I guess I'm ready. Don't judge me for anything you see that I unintentionally show you, I guess.
Oh, no judgment here. I'll try not to root around too deep. Then I'll put my finger in my temple and I'll cast Detect Thoughts on him. See if it releases my headache.
Immediately, you get some surface thoughts from Kinsalo. He's just like looking at you, not even consciously aware of what thoughts you're gleaning, but his thoughts are, this elf is not like anyone the bird folk ever warned me about. He's sensitive and he cares. He's tender. He's no scourge of death like we were taught. I don't understand, and just almost curious but fond thoughts of you, as well as the party he has been welcomed into. Seemingly glad he met you all in that strange opportunity in the Feywild. And as his memories go back, you feel the pangs of deep sadness and horror as he recalls the reason for your meeting and the slain bird folk that were illusorily hidden in that strange carnival-like situation by the Darklings. Are you probing deeper?
Yeah. Just one time. So whiz save 14.
I'll give him this whiz save with disadvantage, although I am still going to have him not willingly fail it, just because he's going to try to willingly fail it, but he might instinctively have some guards up. So I'll give him this save. It is a wisdom saving throw, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go check.
Disadvantage. Oh, nat one. You immediately dive deep into his mind. And have you dove into a mind of any of your allies other than Jiri in this way? Okay, so for the first time, you get a sense of what I would call a more stable internal mind state. And it feels like you're just trancing almost, like it's as natural as looking through memories, looking through visions. You're just almost seeing through Kinsalo's eyes instances from his past of fighting at you all's side, stealing glances at individual party members, maybe you more than the others, back into his own culture where he's fighting at the side of the Oracor members. You're seeing deft spear strokes as he is a proficient spear fighter, taking to the air and diving deep into the forest. Other allies at his sides, the spear casters of the Oracor, practicing their launchers as they all thrust their arms in a series of interlocked spears with nets, trap animals. A real unique capability of that force of warriors available to the bird folk. Is there anything specific you are looking for, I'll ask? Because you're getting deeper memories, more vivid memories from his past.
I want to try to see the island where they found him.
You look as far, almost like rapid fire zooming through images on a slideshow. You look for anything you think might be helpful, and it's almost overwhelming to try and look through that much information as quickly as this minute of invasion. Seems almost too harsh a word, but this dive avails you of a minute. I'll give you an intelligence check to see if you can quickly enough find a scrap of specific information that might be helpful.
17.
17 is pretty good. The farthest back memory you can see is feeling like you're suddenly at a loss for air and you're floating. You have a stomach queasiness, grasping a piece of driftwood, floating amidst an endless sea of salt water, and looking up into the sky as 4 flying individuals soar downward toward you. The first of those individuals being a much younger representation of the individual you know to be Oro Junequill, captain of the southern crew, or I'm sorry, the northern crew of Oracor. And then you are pulled back. Oh, that was weird. I felt like a buzzing sensation in my mind. Did you figure out what you were looking for?
Do I still have a headache?
You do still have a headache.
All right. I'm going to go to the door and I'm going to ask the Salthar Rangers to bring us 3 glasses, 3 glasses and 3 bottles of wine. And I said, Rome, do you drink? Maybe Rome is staring out the window at the plants.
Do I drink
Alcohol.
Alcoholic beverages.
Some elvish wine is being delivered.
Yeah. I don't see why Rome would reject that.
I don't
Fruit
see
of the
why.
land, grape based usually. Makes sense.
So I'll pour, I assume wine gets brought, and I'll pour us all some wine, and I'll say, in all of the commotion of the past few days, I forgot the circumstances, Kinsalo, in which we found you. And I want to have a drink tonight to your company and to ease our rest here. And
That
I
sounds
did.
good. I think I could use a drink.
Oh, I thank you, Telperion.
It was
It's been,
very helpful.
hard work today building this terrace out.
Oh, yes. Those plants are beautiful. I like the ones that you're connecting. The spines are very inspiring. And then I'm cool to go trans.
Okay. And unless there are any final items of note, the night will conclude. You are all welcome to engage another long rest at the end of the 23rd.
Telperion, have I made a new torch and given it to you? I don't remember.
Yeah, you did. You did it at a higher level too, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Did you, or did I tell you to wait?
I was very much planning to. I don't remember if I ended up doing it.
You were going to, and then we said to do it like at a different time when we had downtime. So I feel like
Yeah, so I at some point today would have either asked Roulette to take 5 or 10 minutes, or if she was too busy, I would have grabbed her jeweler tools or like ability to crush up a ruby into dust, and I'll do a continual flame on the torch I've got on my possession.
That was an accident, sorry.
At 4th level, and I'll wrap it up and put it in my pack.
Okay, so you're upcasting your spell, Continual Flame, you said? Yes? Does upcasting it consume the same amount of material?
There is no wordage about the upcasting at all.
Okay.
So I'm just imbuing it with stronger magic.
I see. So because of that level of magic, you do suspect that should be able to penetrate typical level 2 magical darkness because of the spell with which you cast it.
Level 3 dispel magic type thing.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Cool.
Ooh, do we message people, Toby?
Yeah, if you had messages you were ready to send, I've got 2 available.
Oh, well, Gene would be top on my list. Gene, and then also,
I don't want to bother this poor man while he's suffering.
Gene, to send some hope, to like remind him we're still looking out for him. Also to kind of be like, yo, if you see anything sketchy, let us know. And then also Mirage to be like, don't forget my boots.
Because this has happened I think twice now. Roulette will just toss you the sending stone that we have to Mirage.
Also, it's been like 2 days in the material plane since we saw him last. Pretty much. So he's
Oh yeah. It's been a while for Jiri, so gotta keep in touch.
Although, if you recall your recent conversation with Mirage about the boots, he thought that because it might take a while to enchant something custom, he was going to reach out to contacts nearby to see if he could quickly acquire something that would be more suiting to your preference. So even with a short time span, even if in long-term enchantment isn't possible, 2 days might have been enough time for him to reach out to people. So,
well, he's got other things he's going to be doing for me too. So, and then if this is a message stone that I get to use, I'll like go into the corner of the room and like whisper into it so that Roulette and
okay,
it's all yours.
Yeah. So what do you say as you conjure the magic from the stone and make a mental connection with Mirage?
Mirage, it's Jiri, your good buddy. How's it going? I hope the shop's well. Just reminding you to find me some really cool boots, and that's about it.
Master Jiri,
Yes.
my friend, my ally, my confidant. I think you will be pleased with some of the information I have about the boot. And it is cut off. And a few seconds later, you hear another message permeate into your mind. Apologies. Mirage will get the sense of this eventually. I believe I may have 3 options available to you, should you be interested when you return.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so many options. I can't wait to see them. Okay, I'll let you get back to your shop. Bye, Mirage. We'll see you soon.
Very well. Communication made. Toby Rama, is there anyone you are reaching out to?
Besides Gene?
I don't want to send a message to Gene. I just maybe it is good for him to hear that people are still thinking of him.
Yes, some moral support.
Toby, I mean, I kind of do agree with Jerry. Just don't ask him any questions. Don't send him anything that'll prompt him. Just say something soft and reassuring.
Tell him he's the best little gnome there ever was.
$25 soft, reassuring words.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Just throw those at the end.
Do 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 do.
You pooping? No, I will cast a sending to Jean Lavore. Jean, it is Toby Rama again. I am simply reaching out so that you might not lose hope. We are thinking of you and those in Croatia and making strides towards its liberation.
Good word.
You hear back from Jean.
Toby Rama, it is good to hear your voice. Hope is hard to come by these days. Austenis remains under Durast's boot. And they have taken all of the wares of ensorcelment for their own use. Do not contact me for fear that...
Don't make that gesture with your hand.
He got killed in mid-sentence. Jiri will walk back over, I imagine, after his message with Mirage. Well, Jiri, Jean is still down on his luck. But, you know, I reassured him that we're doing what we can.
Well, I'm sure we cheered him up. I'm sure he's very happy now.
Going to bed with a pep in his step.
Perfect. Well, if that will do it, you are all welcome to take another long rest. And before I want to take a bio break here soon, but before we do that, I do want Telperion to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. And also, can I say where I'm directing prior, or do you want?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I want to confront whatever is going on. So I don't want to. I'm not dwelling on the shadow per se, but like, I am intentionally trying to focus on further back than I've like really ever consciously lately gone before. Just like to really think about whatever. 11.
Okay, 11 for the whiz save. Go ahead and give me an intelligence check too, for kind of force of mind in your pursuit here.
All right, so 11 on the whiz, and then 6 on the int.
Okay. You try and direct your thoughts toward family, friends, circumstances as usual. And once again, you feel that kind of eerie, uncomfortable invasion of your mind by that dark shadow. And as you turn to confront it, you see it still flying towards you. And then it sets itself down onto the landscape out ahead. And as it touches ground, you for the first time get a true sense of its scale. It seems to be looking directly at you, but it's hundreds, maybe not hundreds, but dozens of miles away, and you're still able to see its massive form. You're not seeing reflection. It's like a silhouette against the twilight sky of the Feywild. Just an absolute ink blot of void and no color. But then it slowly curls and moves in your direction, striding across the landscape, and you're getting the sense that this is a gargantuan form. And as it kind of leans down, it leaps, wings batted, and it flies directly, and soon its form just takes up your whole mind, just a void of black, and you shake from your trance once again. Go ahead, give me a D4 roll.
4.
4 hours into your trance, you had almost completed it before this took place. And then you are awoken, frightened, with the condition of frightened for a moment, before that subsides over the course of a minute. And it was so jarring to your person, it seems to have disrupted the restfulness of that trance, and you will have to retrance once more this night. As what you can only attribute to whatever a trance terror is or might be having plagued your mind again.
That's cool.
I pace around for a minute, and I try again.
Okay. The second time, you are able to slip back into your trance and slowly push past that sensation of wanting to confront it, maybe even fearful to confront it, but it does not force you awake from restfulness again. But this time does take essentially 8 hours to complete a typical trance in alignment with the rest of your allies' kind of general sleep trajectory.
What are you, human?
This is disgusting.
And then you all awake, having completed another long rest at a little after dawn. And that's where I'd like to take a quick break before we come back.
Heck yeah.
Woo! We had a lot of rest time to get to.
Yeah.
All
All right, perfect.
Critter.
Steve-O.
You've seen the movie The Goonies.
Uh-huh.
You know the little Asian kid? He's the inventor.
One-Eyed Willie.
Well, he's not One-Eyed Willie. His name is Data.
No, but yeah, Data, who's also in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah.
Yeah. I have not seen that movie. We need to watch that. He has the spring-loaded punch boxing glove. That was literally my idea for what I wanted to do, just to be able.
Amazing.
I can stand here like this and just like click a button and have it just.
Love that. Love that.
So that's the intent. I literally wrote in my notes other uses TBD. So I will think of it in the future.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, you nailed the hell out of that check, but I don't know that such a quick check can give you something as strong as like you can attack with it as a bonus action by doing that or something so strong. But
No,
I do like the idea of like, hey, if you're unarmed and you trigger it, maybe you get advantage on that check if it surprised them or something like that. You know?
I was literally thinking of it again specifically for opportunity attacks if my hands are free because of spell casting, instead of me like swinging and getting like my whatever my strength is as my damage, somehow maybe using my intelligence to like deal 4 damage as my hit or whatever it is. That was the main starting point for that. Oh fuck. Great, this shit is nuts. Having night terrors.
Trance terrors. Night terrors are for people that sleep.
It's true. I'm having trance terrors. Jesus.
Okay.
Also, before we kick off this morning, where some other individuals' actions are about to unfold, can I get a sense on people's days today? Do we have a pretty firm 3 o'clock cutoff? Are we okay to spill over? Or like, I want to really respect everyone if we're like, no, we want to keep it to 4 hours, but like, for all I care, this could be an 8-hour session without me caring. So it's just like, I want to get a sense of like, are we okay to go to 3:30? Do we want to go longer, shorter, whatever you guys want to do?
I would definitely like 3:30 is like, if we need to go past
Pretty
30,
hard.
then 3:30 becomes kind of a hard cutoff.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about
I
you,
agree
Tim
with
and
that.
Alex? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So
that we
okay to
could go
spill over
over,
past
but-
30, but
Yeah,
Okay.
as close as we
Okay.
can. Yeah.
got it. Perfect.
Alex is here, by the way.
Perfect.
She wants me to say that she's baking bread. You should show them one of the loaves.
Classic since COVID started type hobby.
Look at this loaf. It's as big as my head.
damn.
Holy shit. It's beautiful.
That's so sick.
pretty.
Alex is professional.
Thank you. I've been bartering with students, and a student gave me like all of this beef from their farm, so I'm trading them bread.
Amazing.
Who needs money when you got a barter system?
I mean, honestly, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Is that sourdough, rye? What are you working with there?
It's sourdough. And I've like been making a bunch of different recipes now too. So
That's
Tim has
awesome.
people at work that want to buy them. So I don't know. We might have a bread business by the end of the year.
Nice.
All set here.
All righty. Well, as you all wake up, Telperion surprisingly at the same time as the rest of you kind of coming to from a night of rest, you all start to stir a bit, and it's probably pretty close to dawn at this point, and you all in your separate rooms hear approaching footsteps of metal and leather more than the typical kind of attendants that have been standing guard. Hear the shuffling of many individuals, and on Telperion and Co.'s door first.
Hello?
A knock at your door. If you open the door, in front of you stands your father, Mathros. And just for fun, I'm going to add him here. A little bit of that.
I'm like levitating a sword out in front of me when he opens the door, and I have a cape on, and it's billowing a little bit.
Nice.
Father, hello. Any tidings?
Greetings, son. Yes, actually, I need you and your friends to gather your things and follow me at once. It would appear that your sister has been making rather interesting use of her time since the other day's hearing, as she and some of her attendants and friends have just appeared in front of Keep Loonsong with some rather strange news. Your mother is currently occupied in various meetings in anticipation for tonight's council vote, but I would like you and your friends to follow me at once. We'll stop by the guest suite and have them prepare themselves as well, but I ask for your assistance as Minerva insisted specifically that you all may be able to lend some help or insight, since apparently her discovery was instigated by your direction. But please, take a moment to prepare yourselves, and please enter the hallway when you're all ready.
All right, I'm gonna strap on the armor that I wore here and just like prepare myself for like all the days we've ever generally had. I think. Would Telperion have like lesser armor than like does he have like something that's like more stereotypical of like the culture here besides?
You could probably ask a ranger to provide you with kind of more standard armor, but it wouldn't probably be plate metal like you're accustomed to. They typically don't wear plate as often in this culture, and so that was a big buff to your defenses when you acquired that through the Durastian means.
All right, I'll just wear the usual plate then.
Strapping on your recent, somewhat jarring-looking Durastian style armor that has suited you well, but maybe not in appearance that you can be prideful of. But Kinsalo will quickly, be amenable to your suggestion that they need to gear up. So he'll strap his kind of very bare sash across his chest, get his kind of feathered epaulets on, usually mostly bare-chested, almost like a barbarian type style fighter might be. Takes him very, very little time to prepare, and he will actually, if you want, aid you in getting your heavily armored self.
He comes over, and as I'm holding it, about to put it on, I'll be like, I can't do it. I'm gonna just wear I assume I'll have like some high level breast, like the half chip plate or something, like something medium armor. That's just what I used to wear around, and I'll just wear that because I want to be clad in my people's clothing.
Yeah, just because I'm curious, what did you start the campaign with? Chainmail?
Yeah.
I would say that's probably more in line with what can be prepared for you. So you'll be wearing chainmail for this circumstance, which is I think a 16 AC.
Yeah. So I'll just know that. I won't change it on my sheet right now.
Okay. Kind of leaving your Jurassian armor behind, slipping on your chains, and some various clothing that is more suitable to your culture. Rome, is there anything else you're doing to prepare yourself to follow Telperion and Kinsalo out of the room?
You guys
are muted.
Sorry.
My bad. Well, I'd really like to know where we're going. We have been kept in one place for the last 2 days. Now you're telling me I need to go somewhere else. I would really love if I knew where we were going.
Maethros will speak up and say, "Greetings, Spirit. I do apologize for the disruption to your rest, and I do appreciate your continued patience in this time. As for where we are going, it appears that somehow, due to the actions of Telperion's sister and those at her side, the constellation of Soraya, the winged deer, has appeared in the sky, though it is usually not visible at this time of year. And its light is directing our attention toward a particular location within Athenian. Lady Talia was one of the individuals accompanying your sister, Telperion, who has emphasized her belief that this is some odd phenomenon representing a dire warning for our people, and at Minerva's insistence, believes you all might be able to lend some insight, as it was triggered by the discovery by them of additional Alealor ruins. We have yet to confirm that account, but we are looking into it at once. I have not fully debriefed with your sister just yet, but she and her attendant seemed a little worse for wear. I ordered they seek respite for a while in her chambers, but your sister is a stubborn one, and I would not easily retire to her chambers without ensuring I collected you for our investigation. As for the location specifically, strands of surprisingly potent starlight are currently illuminating through the cover of the canopies above and appear to be targeting a single location within the Moonset Grove. The Eneliran Embassy, the home of the Cloud Swift ambassadors and personal residence of House Leader Arethel Meyerlight. In short, we make way toward Keep Meyerlight.
And will we walk there as free people or as prisoners?
At this time, you will walk at the escort of my Selethar Rangers and myself as guests of the city. Certainly not prisoners, as no one has deliberated on any restriction of further freedom for you all at this time.
Yes,
but if you will accompany that, say, yes, son. What was that?
That's the case, then I need to tell my friends about this.
Very well. And as you guys collect your belongings, they will lead you toward, and now that you enter the corridor, there's a dozen or so Selethar Rangers at your father's back, in addition to the guards previously stationed at your rooms, seemingly ready for a journey to Keep Meyerlight, for whatever the circumstance may be. But you're able to join your companions in the other room, and there is a knock on your door as well, as Telperion's father and the others have arrived. Who answers the door?
It's not Jury or Roulette because we're busy.
Yeah, I would have seen them working and gone in.
So the scene with Roulette and Jury, if you'll allow me. So having completed the sneaky launch, Roulette is probably standing there like with her hands behind her head and just like turning to Jury and like Old West style duel, just like waiting to like snap her fingers and launch it at him to see if he can avoid it. So I'm just practicing my aim with like my hip shooter.
Perfect. Are you truthfully trying to strike Jiri?
No. This is more just calibrating to make sure I know how to clip it on correctly and angle it correctly.
So Jiri's been doing a lot of acrobatics lately, because he just spent like basically all day jumping on this bed.
Yeah.
Which is now I'm also imagining that he like broke it, like it's like broken now, and he's gonna have to like he tells Roulette and Toby, oh like play it cool guys, like we'll just say that it was broken when we got in here.
I've done that at several Airbnbs, so it's fine.
I walk in and say, Father, we can charge Jiri for the bed. Yo, we have urgent business.
Are we leaving the moon set, or are we going somewhere else?
I could let my father speak to it, but I could also say my sister's been busy and she found remember when we found those ruins outside Forest Hollow? The hidden Alayalore ruins I was shocked to find.
Oh, we were going after the horse.
That's where I got cursed. Mad Wolf's curse.
It seems that Minerva has found another set of ruins nearby. Before we parted, I gave her information about the first ruins that we found, since she's a scholar. And this is also probably news to my father who's listening. And it sounds like she's found a new one, and there are odd events outside. I could let my father speak to the rest.
Yes, a constellation not usually seen in the sky at this time of year has made itself present through somewhat magical or divine even means, as I believe your sister and her allies proceeded into these ruins and activated whatever structure lied within. We're not quite sure what effect has been triggered, but Talia was insistent that it was a dire warning for our people. And since you all have some claim to have experience with those sets of ruins, we thought you should be present to venture where it is directing our attention.
You ready to get out of these rooms?
Yeah, very well. Don't have to tell me twice.
Very well. Well, please, after me. And Mathros will lead the way, probably beckoning for Telperion to join him close to at his side as the rest of you follow, and the other Selethar warriors take specific formation behind you all and outside you all. And you start to depart from Nightlamp Palace, walking down its marbled steps and then outward toward the large set of stone stairways that leads out into the city, down the helical staircase that holds that keep aloft. And as you start to walk out into Athenian proper, you can now see fairly clearly what phenomenon has taken place. Several strands of starlight, even in the dawn light, which starlight should not be as evident as this, is brightly filtering in from the canopy above, all shining toward one location, Enalaran Embassy, or Keep Mirelight, where the Cloud Swift Elves and House Leader Erethel usually take residence. A house of many ambassadors and diplomats, but certainly most notably the Cloud Swift house family.
I have a couple of questions. Can you put Soraya's spelling in the chat?
Yes.
Do I still have a headache?
As you wake this morning, you feel that your headache seems to have subsided, actually.
Okay. As we walk, I want to tell my father, Father, are you familiar with trance terrors? I was reading about them.
Your father almost stops in his tracks as you mention that, and then forces himself to keep walking and says to you, "Are they back?"
I've had one each night the past 2 nights, and I've never had one before.
He clenches his jaw, and I would like for you to make an insight check as you guys continue to move forward. I'll say insight with advantage because you know your father so well.
Oh, 20, dirty 20.
20 is really good. At your insistence that I've never experienced this before, that is when he his facial position changed and clenched his jaw. Some cues that are holding back information or willingness to speak on a topic. And as you guys continue forward, he says, "I don't know what we are walking into, but at the nearest opportunity, you should converse with your mother about those.
Okay. I wanted, whatever events are here, I wanted you to know that I had them before I see whatever we're about to see, because they may not be coincidental.
Perhaps. Certainly something to keep in mind. If you don't mind me asking, what did you see?
The first night I was seeing you all in shadow from a gargantuan, draconic, dark figure with ruby eyes behind me. It was there the next night as well. Massive, coming towards me. I had to repeat the trance both nights because I couldn't. I woke up afraid in a way I don't recall being afraid before.
Your mother is much more knowledgeable than I about these things. And I do recommend you reach out to her at the nearest opportunity when you are all restored some availability to seek audience with the Queen. It might surprise you to learn that you have, in fact, experienced these before. When you were much younger, the first couple nights after you stepped through the Feywild at your mother's coronation.
Oh.
I believe your mother, through magical means, tried to aid your inability to trance successfully at that time by removing you of those memories. You must speak with her further.
I don't even say anything, I just nod.
Very well. And after a few minutes journey, probably honestly like 20 minutes or so, it does take a while to cross the Moonset Grove on foot. You make your way eastward and eventually arrive toward the front garden terrace structure that serves as the entrance to Keep Mirelight.
Roulette.
And yeah.
Roulette, you have any idea where we're going?
I'm assuming we're going wherever that light's pointing. If I'm lining up the names correctly, I think Meyerlight's the fellow who caused the scene and kind of started us or put us in that house arrest. So I guess we're going to his house? I don't know.
Trust him.
Okay. Anything we should keep an eye out for? I don't know. Can we trust all these elves?
We can trust Telperion and we can trust his dad. I don't. And I think the coterie we got here is all under his dad's purview. So I think the folks we're directly with, we can trust. I do think.
Yeah, and as you mention that kind of entourage that's traveling with you, you notice you are definitely catching stray glances from people going about their morning routines out in the city, as a force of some dozen plus soldiers and the general and all the new guests in town are definitely drawing an eye as you make way toward Enalaran Keep, as well as a kind of slowly congesting sparse startings of a crowd filtering toward Enalaran Embassy, considering the light that is illuminating it so uniquely. Definitely has garnered attention, and people's focus is pulling them in that direction. But you all arrive walking through the carefully trimmed, hedged gardens that are the entrance to this keep. And as Mathros leads you all up a set of new marbled staircases, greets two Selethar Rangers at the front entrance doorway. Taniel, at ease, Ranger. We mean to speak with Arathel Mirelight. Very well. And both of them allow you to all step through, and they adjust the doors, and the large stone doors swing inward. And you are all free to step forward into the foyer space of Keep Mirelight.
I fall back to be with my friends and specifically kind of next to Kinsalo.
Okay.
As we step in, I say, I don't know why the light is shining here. Something unprecedented is happening, so be up on your guards. I caution you though, don't harm anyone unless you absolutely think it's necessary.
Okay, I'm gonna stick pretty close to you if you don't mind. I'm getting more and more unsure of our position in the city as we walk. And as you all are all led into this space, Mathros strides forward across the emerald, beautiful tapestry runner that runs deep into this space. And a woman walks forward, another beautiful moon elf, pale skin, dark haired, and greets your father. Yes, what do I owe the pleasure of the verdant lord in our estate, and with so many forces at his back? At ease, Luciana. We are here at the urgent insistence of my daughter, her allies, as well as, we believe, guidance from Soraya, the constellation above, which fleetingly has appeared in the sky above, though unnaturally it seems. We are here to meet with House Leader Meyerlight. And she says, I believe he is actually engaged in early morning meetings with Thantuar House Leader Elena Morwing at the moment, and I do not believe they want to be disturbed. Could I ask you to return at a later time? And Mathro says, I think we would like to take a look around if you would be so kind to accommodate us that request. And Luciana very quickly sort of bows her head in acknowledgement of his stature and a request coming from a high authority figure. Very well, of course. I can lead you wherever you like. Mathros then turns to you all and says, Telperion, can I count on you with perhaps a ranger or two to keep your party in close quarters with each other and not run amok in here? I suspect we should spread out and search the grounds for Meyerlight.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm perhaps going out on a limb I should not by letting you walk somewhat freely with your allies, so do be careful that they do not smudge this opportunity of trust. And at that insistence, he begins to command a section of Selethar warriors one way, another section goes off another way, and there is a pair of Selethar rangers left to stay near you all. But you are welcome to, it seems fairly empty and desolate in this place. Very well kept, but just not very much activity, people walking throughout, as likely people have other business in the city they're already attending to that may usually occupy this space. But you are all welcome to walk around, check out different rooms, see if you can find Arethel Meyerlight.
I'll take the lead, I suppose. And if my father goes one way, I'll go the other.
Okay. Your father and some of his rangers there's kind of a large central staircase that goes up and then splits and kind of comes back upward. So they seem to be kind of splitting up the main party to search the upstairs area and you're very familiar with this estate as you've spent time here before. And you suspect they're probably going to search maybe the primary bedroom suites, some of the guest suites, the main studies, maybe the library and lounge, some of the larger, more grand common rooms upstairs.
We'll stick with the smaller rooms down here. Starting on the left, to start looking through some of the rooms.
Okay. So for one of the first things that comes across is a somewhat nicely sized common room where there are various shelves and bookcases, and it's not quite library stature, but still a nice place where you and Doran may have spent time studying. occasionally with your sister, his brother, potentially. But you guys could all check out this space. There doesn't seem to be any individuals present in this room.
I'll kind of just try to like investigate some of the like desks and look for any interesting papers, I guess.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check. Is there anything any of the others of you want to be doing as you kind of follow Telperian's guidance through this space, but have the freedom to interact in the space however you like?
Are there any plants in this space?
There definitely are. Not only are there, for kind of aesthetic purposes, large, beautifully trimmed, conical shaped, thin trees kind of adorning many of the hallways, especially in the foyer space. There are various house plants set throughout this common room, likely tended to by some attendant every day. Is there anything specific you're hoping to do with them?
Yeah, I'm gonna just like kind of walk around the property, from plant to plant, whispering and attempting to speak with them using speak with plants.
Okay. You are able to engage the dialogue between you and the plant. What do you speak?
I asked the plants, what is this place? And what have you observed of the moon elves who frequent this area?
The plant writhes a little, almost imperceptibly, except to you, and you get whatever version of language comes to you from this plant as it speaks back to you. I am but a meager houseplant, tended to by attendant Luciana so often. I do not know of which you speak. No one has come through this common room for most of the morning. What do you wish to know, friend?
What have you observed? What comings and goings have you observed from your spot on this planet?
Keeper Lucianen has granted me the gift of water and nourishment this morning. Various diplomats and attendants that frequent these halls have mostly made their way out of the estate into the city beyond. I do not believe I've seen anyone else in this common space outside of Keeper Luciana.
Okay. Can I continue to walk around for 10 minutes while I think of what else I might want to ask these plants?
Sure, absolutely. Telperian, you get a very high nat 20. Noticeably, this common room is very well adorned with family pictures. A lot of large, beautifully framed portraits of hand-painted photographs of many of the Meyerlights, many of its ancestors, the kind of political ancestry that have governed this great house of the Ithilwinge, as well as one that you noticeably know is missing, which is a simple picture of Doran and his brother Ezrin, which has been seemingly removed from this room for whatever reason.
Okay. We'll just keep moving then through to other rooms if there's something.
Yeah.
Here.
Jiri, were you about to interact in some way? Looked like you were about to speak.
I was just gonna pull Toby and Kinsalo aside because I guess we're just like following everybody. I'll be like, okay, so Rolette's talking to plants.
No.
Or excuse me, Rome's talking to plants. Rolette's being really smart, and Telperian's leading the way. What should the three of us do?
Good question. I mean, keep our eyes peeled for that guy we saw at the council meeting a day and a half ago, or
we could
I don't really know exactly what to look for. I could help one of you guys look for something if you have a good idea.
We could ask if we could do an aerial reconnaissance mission. The three of us could go outside and try and get a view from above.
Good idea.
Okay, we could
I'll-
definitely do that.
I'll walk over to Telperion or the rangers with us. The three of us, we can actually get a view from the sky if we're searching for the Meyerlight fellow. I say in common, but I have been doing my comprehend languages with my staff.
Okay. They will respond in Elvish, understanding your common, but speaking back in Elvish. You do speak in the Elven tongue, yes?
No, but I understand it.
Strange. We can, of course, make that capability you three have known to the Verdant Lord as well as the other Selethar. Perhaps let us not pursue that means of strategy quite yet, as I hesitate to split up your party.
Understood.
The general made somewhat clear that we need to keep a careful eye on you in the sense that you do not draw any unwanted attention or make a misstep, should I say.
Completely understand. Just trying to give options to how we can help. And
It is appreciated. We will keep it in mind.
Toby, can you try to sniff out any magic?
Magic I've got prepared is doing a ton for investigation. I can just be perceiving, as I am wont to do. But I'll go back and let you
know. Absolutely. Go ahead and make a general perception check as you're moving through the space.
As I approach Jerry and say, okay, they're going to have us do that, but they're going to have us do it later. They don't want us to split up quite yet.
Okay, I'll watch your back, and you watch my back. We'll make it through this together,
and
even if it's just us two.
Our backs, so all three of us watch each other's backs.
Okay, we'll make a triangle. All right, let's keep going.
Perfect. I'll give Kinsalo a check as well. Okay, and Jiri, you can give me a perception check if you would like as well. All of you are kind of keeping eyes. Oh, so close to it, that 18. You guys are all keeping eyes on the surroundings as some of the others look more particularly in Rome, interacts with more plant life. Rome, is there anything you'd like to further conversate with that plant about before you move on to another room?
No, I want to move on to another room because this plant doesn't know anything.
Okay. So next you move to past another small study that is kind of interconnected with that larger one. Sort of an intricate set of candlesticks at the fireplace toward the back. Beautiful room. Then you move onward to the large, well laid out kitchen, which has a sort of exceedingly large closet pantry space behind it, where there are various beautifully carved ivory handled knives and various stores of food and grain and vegetables and such. You move into the dining room. You guys are continuing these checks you've been making. So Telperion's still looking for any specifics that might be of note. And so far, nothing quite catches your eye. But I will keep that nat 20 in mind, though.
Yeah, I'm also starting to be suspicious of, like, why haven't we found them yet? And, like, do I need to be looking for, like, doors or, like, secret passages or something? Like, so I'm starting to, like, be a little less interested in, like, paperwork and things that are out and obvious. I'm starting to, like, kind of just pull at knobs and, like, like, knock on places to see if I find them.
Yeah, and all the cupboards come free easily. There's a small door that leads into kind of a sectioned off closet space within the pantry that opens freely. Nothing of note there. Rome, is there anything specific you are interested in talking to additional plants about?
I ask, are there any plants in the space, and which one is there?
Yeah, I would say as you move through a couple of these spaces above the dining room, kind of some of the archway entrance doorways into the dining room, there's kind of ornate decorative ivy that kind of sprawls across that. That might be a good plant to interact with, that as it has a fairly good vantage point into the dining room, kitchen, and kind of main corridor hall area.
Yes, I survey the room, and I look for the plant that I feel is the oldest and thus hopefully the wisest. So perhaps it is that ivy. And
Okay.
I ask the ivy, has there been anyone through this area recently? And which way did they go? And how long ago?
I suppose most recently would be two of the ambassadors that perhaps stumbled out of their trancing state later than the others and made way into the city abroad after having a bite to eat here in the dining room. Of course, there are other more authoritative figures that have stopped in here. Arethel Meyerlight, house leader himself, had breakfast here perhaps an hour ago or so before he stepped out to, I believe, welcome house leader of Thantawar, Elena Morwing, into the abode. But they see, from my vantage point, they seem to have gone upwards to the higher level and have not been back down here since.
Thank you, kind Ivy. I turn around and I like kind of collect the people whom I trust of the party with my vine, and like kind of pull them towards me and whisper, kind of with I don't know, stealthfully. I believe who we're looking for is upstairs.
All right, let's go. I'm getting nervous.
Okay. And as soon as you guys start moving over toward Rome's direction, that they're to go upstairs, this large opulent set of staircase that splits when it goes up to a further tier above. Toby Rama, as you begin to take the first step upward, you see a blur of motion off in the distance on your periphery, and you look over and you're looking down a hallway, and you swear you just saw a blur of motion like run on. If we're looking at a T-based hallway, you're looking down the middle of the T where another corridor is intercepted by it, and you think you just saw a blur of something move down that corridor.
Someone just ran past. Someone just ran past in that corridor.
Toby, take us. And like, I start pushing you and like trying to jog
I'll
away.
do that, and like, because the others are already upstairs. So
How long is this corridor, really quick?
Probably 80 feet long or so.
Beautiful. I take out my vortex warbler and I just vortex warp Telperion to the end of the hallway.
You vortex warp Telperion immediately to the end of that hallway. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and cast your spell. Does Telperion instinctually know to let this happen? Do you? Okay.
I think when we see I think at this point we know the warbler, and I just relax into it.
Just say like, Telperion, time to quick jump, and I'll cast it on them. And
I hop.
Okay. As you do that, Telperion, you are warped through time and space in an instant and appear at that kind of T cross-sectional area of that hallway, 80, 90 feet away. Go ahead and make a perception check.
All right.
I meant to give you guidance before you got warped away.
16.
16. You look down one side of the hallway and then the other, and you see a door close at the end of that hallway, not 20 feet from you.
What number door is it?
It is the one that is if there are doors along the side, this is the one that is most on the face of that end of that hallway. And it surprises you to see whatever this motion was that just went through that doorway. Surprises you, considering that's the door to one of the subterranean cellars that is like used for storage and was once long ago used for prison cells that are long in disuse, considering no prisoners have been held in Athenian for centuries.
Okay. I wave you guys along and I say, hurry. And whatever door on the left it is, I'll say door 3 on the left, and I'll like start racing over that way myself.
Okay.
In fact, I'm gonna dash over there.
Okay. You are welcome
Just
to.
whip open that door.
You whip open the door. Could I please have you make a wisdom saving throw?
You probably could. Hard 3.
Hard 3. You open the door and you are stopped in your tracks for just a moment as you grip the doorknob and pull it. A fuzzying headache just dazes your mind and now continues to linger in the back of your head. A very familiar sensation that you had just pushed through over the last 24 hours.
The fear?
Not the fear, but that buzzing headache that was plaguing you for the whole day of yesterday.
Okay. Got it.
And as you take a moment to right yourself, you are welcome to proceed further down the stairwell and toward the kind of abandoned cellar space of this place.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on a sliver as I go.
Okay. As you continue to rush down, and all of your allies are able to, staggered, but still rushing in accordance with your pace mostly. You get down there. Before you turn a corner toward the bottom of the staircase, I'd like you to make one more perception check.
Okay. 18.
You hear a crack, like a thin crack, not like a shattering, but a crack of glass. And then you turn the corner and you are seeing a kind of essentially what you expected of this subterranean room space. It's just a large, maybe 15 by 25 foot room of storage. There are abandoned rotting bookshelves, an old disused piano, a couple of shapes under draped cloth like statues, paintings, mirrors, and you are able to walk around this space, but you don't in this moment see any individuals that may have just rushed down here.
I'm gonna cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna try to radar this space around me for anyone who has a brain. You can search for thoughts within 30 feet of you. The spell can penetrate barriers, but 2 feet of rock, 2 inches of any metal other than lead, or a thin sheet of lead blocks you. You can't detect a creature within 3 or lower.
You come to a stop and open your mind in this way, surveying the space for anything with thoughts. 6 seconds go by. 12. 18. 24, and then you do get a thought from your party member, your first party member rushing down behind you as they all now arrive, and you have not detected any thoughts from individuals in this space.
I heard glass breaking.
I have casted 2 spells on the way here. I did a false life
Okay.
on myself and a warding bond on Jiri.
Okay.
Oh, if we're like getting ready to get rough and tumble, I'm gonna pull on my ripcord.
Okay. You conjure your puffy armor. Warding bond and false life are active.
Nice.
Who's doing what?
I'm looking for glass because, like you said, I heard there's glass shattering.
Yeah. So not shattering, but you heard like a crack, almost
Okay.
like a window that might have like given into like temperature change that caused a crack, but not like a shattering noise.
Okay.
But so you are welcome to surveil this space. And now's when I'll say your nat 20 for your kind of continued investigation of this estate comes into play. You pull off a cloth from one of the forms, and it is a disused marble statue that its arm has been sheared off its side. Not sheared, but has over the course of time, maybe it was knocked into something and broke. This is all the disused stuff that Keep Light wouldn't proudly display in like a display room. So there's a statue, an old piano, and then you pull off a cloth from this one and a matching one over in the corner. 2 mirrors are on the corners of the room facing inward, the central point of this room. And both mirrors are cracked. And what's more noticeable with your very high roll of investigation from earlier is you see etchings in the kind of pewter brass archway around the frame of the mirror. There's like elvish script, but it's more like a runic sequence that stretches over each mirror, and they're both slightly different.
Roulette, can you read runes? Toby, you've been casting detect comprehend language. Check out these markings. I had some glass earlier.
Yeah, I'll place my hand on whichever one Roulette's not working on, and I have to have my hand on something for a minute before I can understand.
Also be careful, these probably are magic in some way.
Language.
Okay. So, Roulette, I'll have you roll an Arcana check. Toby Rama, I'll give you a bit of information as well.
Would using the eyes of minute seeing help in any way, shape, or form, or is this just pure? This is legible stuff.
It is legible, but peering closely at it, I think Spotify just stopped for some reason. Looking closely at it is a benefit to see how intricate this runic sequence is.
More, it's flavor than not advantage, but Arcana check.
Yes.
Sweet. 16.
Telperion, you're looking through it and kind of trying to read the Elvish script, but although it's Elvish in many of the letters or I guess characters are legible Elvish, the sequence is kind of evading your mind since you're not as arcanely gifted, although some of it does seem to be like versions of spellcraft that you've probably had to study with your sister to some minimal level. Roulette with a 16, as well as your research from yesterday, this is definitely linked magic. The sequence of this arcane phrase is definitely arcane rather than divine or natural, which is also surprising. And it definitely is like trying to knit together with, another pair. And you see the same for the other mirror, although they are not paired to each other. Just you can understand the kind of math of the arcane runes that they're each trying to knit to other instances of this glyph work. And Telperion, as well as Roulette, who both speak Elvish, as well as Toby Rama, with your understanding of the Elvish script, one part of the phrasing is a little bit more coherent language than the rest. Most of it's almost like a runic mathematical sequence, but one noticeably does have the word Thantawar on it, and one does have the word Tiarlin on it. And you very quickly start to put together with all of this knowledge that these two cracked mirrors somehow must be linked in some way to different Ithilwinge cities in some fashion.
I'm going to tell one of the two soldiers that are with us, go interrupt my father with whatever he's doing and bring him here immediately.
Of course, we'll do.
Tell him this is
they
urgent.
will. Do you want them both to go or just one of them?
Just one.
Of them? Okay, so one of them runs off in that direction. The other remains with you for a time. What else are you guys all doing in this moment?
Tiarlin was the House of Wildvine, right?
Yes.
Forest Watch, who
Forest
House
Watch.
Leader Dagon Wildvine is the leader of, yes.
Both of them notably are the ones who were least... I mean, Thanatua is Elena, and she is the one that was put in her position by nomination from Eretha Myelite, so they are aligned closely. I don't know why Dagon Wildvine, I mean, he's been a recent ally of House Loonsong. He was disapproving, and he was the one most upset about whatever involvement I had with the Jurassians, so this is very disturbing.
Does this lead to their cities or to their keeps here in Athenian?
What I have no concept that there was teleportation between the cities, right? Like that's not something
You
common
had
for
this
people.
is not number one, not something that's common. Like there's travel put together when the house leaders want to be escorted back to and from each city. It's land travel primarily, as well as the fact that not only this strange magic and arcane at that, but it's clearly being hidden in a location that would never be traversed by common people moving about this keep.
I would venture a guess that the Thanatoire elf, Elena, she may have just gone through here because she was the one we knew was here. Do you think, I would like to wait for my father, but do you think we could step through this portal?
Can
If
I?
it is a portal?
Can I I'm gonna push everyone away from the mirror. Can I just take a look at the base of the mirror that Telperion was just gesturing to and see? Like we're in a cellar that theoretically should be dusty and musty. I just want to see if I can spot any footprints or fingerprints or anything like that specifically around this mirror.
Please make an investigation check. And since your eyes of minute seeing are up, this definitely would benefit from that.
Is that a disadvantage or is that?
I think it's advantage to intimidation or investigation checks, I think.
Oh, neat.
For super close-up investigation. You take a much closer look at the surroundings, and not only is there less dust in front of both mirrors due to some version of foot traffic, there is a single drop of blood below the mirror on the ground, below the mirror that specifically reads Tiarlin.
Telperion, someone's bleeding. You said we need your father down here. I'll grab a vial from Telperion's belt, and I will dab a tiny piece of cloth into the blood and just put it into the vial. Didn't stopper it.
I'm gonna sidle over to Jiri. Jiri, what does Father Archers think of this?
I can ask. Hey, Dad, you there?
Yes, what do you need, Jerry?
Oh, Telperion's got a question. He wants to know what you think about this.
Would you do me a favor and place your hand to the mirror?
Sure. All right, Telperion, I'm gonna touch it. Daddy wants me to touch it.
Let's trust exercise this then. And I let you.
As you put your finger toward the mirror and make contact with it.
Sorry, Jerry, just one moment.
And you almost in a force of movement that you did not control, your hand moves like an inch quickly and lacerates one of your fingers on the jagged edge of one of the cracks in the broken mirror. And you do take 1 point of damage.
Puffy armor.
Oh, sure.
Oh, well,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
To this damage.
Which a minimum of 1 damage.
Okay,
Wait, does it deal damage to the mirror?
That's a great question. Would it draw blood is the question. Is do you actually bleed because of your puffy armor? I'm going to say, yeah, you still do.
I've got puffy gloves on.
Yeah.
No, I'm
going to say you
joking.
do still bleed. We'll just keep it simple. Yes, you take a point of damage. It's bleeding, but it is only 1 from your temp HP. But it does kind of prick a little bit. And the second you see that blood on the edge, and then your hand kind of instinctively pulls back, and the blood just immediately expands to fill all of the cracks of the mirror. And then in a moment, they all knit together, and the mirror is whole, not broken, and with a shimmer, no longer shows you all a reflection, but rather the inside of a different cellar space.
I'm gonna take the point of damage as regular health damage. So I feel like that makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jiri.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jiri. And I look over at the South Ranger, just be like, this is all above board, right? Jiri, you want to call?
I suppose so.
You can impersonate Mylight, right? He was the mean one yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, easy.
Could you do his
I
voice
listened
through
to him
here?
talk. Oh, we listened to him talk for like 30 minutes, of course.
Okay,
And
so
I'm
here,
gonna switch to that guy's voice.
and you have to keep
Okay.
it's an Elvish, but we could say something to try to draw Dagon Wildvine back. If Dagon Wildvine just went through here, we could have Jiri fake a call through
We
to.
don't know who it was or what it
we
was.
thought it was Elena, because this is the Thantuar one.
This is the Tiaralin one.
Whoever it was, they were in a rush. I don't know that calling them back is going to do anything.
Yeah, Roulette, just to help confirm that drop of blood you found on the ground, very fresh. And as you see the blood of Jiri knit together, this thing, it's completely absorbed.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay, perfect. There was blood on the ground, and this isn't blood from activating this mirror. This is blood of a wound that someone is trying to staunch at this point. So whoever went through here is hurt, and they're not going to be turning around to just someone calling. I think if we're trying to figure out who this is, we need to be going after them, but I do not want to leave without your father knowing.
No. Okay, everyone get ready, because I want to run through this portal with my father. Do you all agree? Theoretically, this is just going to take us to where the Tiarlan are, which are allies of the Nimbrathil in general. What do you all think?
I mean, I'm transforming into Dagon Wildvine, so
You're
Dagon Wildvine or Arethel Mirelight?
Mirelight, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, no objections to going through here?
No.
Are we allowed to leave? I don't know what's.
I think with Mathros here, in his permission, this just seems like what we would. I mean, what we're meant to do. I think we're very lucky
I mean,
to have this.
this certainly reeks of some sort of foul play. So.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Should we go see? I mean, should I step in the hallway and see if my father's close?
Would you want to implicate him though in your escape from this place, or would you rather him just not know?
Well, I think he gave us. I mean, I don't want to do something without his permission. We're on.
I think it is perceived as an escape if we leave without him. If we leave with him, it's helping him on his mission.
All right, I'm just gonna step in the hallway and see if he's close because I don't want to lose time.
Okay. You run back up the stairway back to the corridor, and you do hear the hurried footsteps of people making their way down the corridor, down the stairs, making their way in your direction, probably at the direction of the Selethar Ranger you sent.
Is Mathros alone? Is he with any new people? Like, did
You may have to go further or wait a little bit to
I'll go meet him.
have them. Okay, so you go meet halfway, and he and 4 other Selethar Rangers are walking toward you, the one you had sent to retrieve him, as well as 3 additional.
Okay, did you find anybody?
No,
Okay.
I don't even believe Mirelight seems to be here. I'm rather confused.
We found something.
I have other rangers searching other areas of the estate, like the gardens out back and such, but no word yet.
Does he say that before he sees me?
Oh, well, I'm
he's not
upstairs.
seeing you. You're still in the
Okay.
basement.
I ran upstairs and I'm leading down. We just found a portal in the basement. We found 2 mirrors that we think are enchanted, arcane, machinations that could take us to Tiaralin or Thanatuar's location, the home cities.
Portals.
We
Please show me what you found. And he will kind of encourage you to make haste back down. Also, notably, the moment you left and ran back upstairs, Jiri and the rest of you downstairs in front of that mirror, you see the mirror once more. After about 6 seconds, it kind of re-breaks and must be reactivated.
Let her stopwatch going. Excuse me.
Do I bring him down?
Let's let Telperion do it, Jerry. He's got the most HP.
Do I? By 2. Steve's so
No, by 1.
By 1. Steve's the only one behind me.
But what if it's just my blood that works and nobody else's?
Jerry, did you transform while I was in your presence?
Well, yeah. As soon as you said, "Can you be this guy?" Like, mist came out of my mouth and it like covered my body, and now I have taken the illusory form of.
Okay. As we're coming down the stairs, I'll say, my friend Jerry can disguise himself, and he disguised himself at my request as Dagon Wildvine, because I think that's what
Aerithil Mirelight.
as Aerithil Mirelight. Oh my god! And so I tell my father that as we come down the stairs.
Very well. So it will appear as if yep, there he is. He looks just like him.
He can do you
very
next.
well. So, what are those the mirrors you spoke of?
Yeah, and I'll kind of turn to Roulette to let her explain them.
Seems to basically just be some sort of teleportation doorway. It's activated by a drop of blood. This mirror becomes a portal to somewhere else. I can't really tell from the side where it is.
Blood in front of this one, indicating the person we saw dashing through likely went through this one.
So you saw an individual make way, and then fresh blood indicating they had ventured through this one.
Correct.
And we can activate this one right now and go through it and show up in the Thanatoire, Tiarlin house.
Fascinating. Jiri, in the back of your mind, you hear a voice speak to you once more and says, Jiri, just a thought. The activation of this mirror by drawing blood is rather strange. I don't know why, but I have this suspicion that blood magic is often linked to those who draw magic from otherworldly pacts such as ours.
Oh,
Hot.
okay. And I will. Okay, I'll let Tapiran know. Tapiran, my dad's got a message for you. It's a warning.
What is it?
Whatever this magic is, probably is kind of similar to like how I get magic from my dad. He helps me out. So we're probably looking for this guy's father.
I look at my dad to see what his face registers as he listens to Jerry be Jerry. I'm very excited.
Look of suspicion toward Jiri, but then mostly looking at you for further explanation, or what do you make of that, son?
The Jiri interpretation.
Yeah, so
Yes. You need a translator talking to Jiri.
Father, you know how Minerva's abilities are arcane and she gets them through study?
Yes.
I have found, as with a friend here, you can get divine or arcane abilities by making connections with other entities, which I do believe Jerry has made, although his is difficult to discern. So he is intoning that this operation here is similar, which means either Mylight, who houses these instruments, or the people using them have made pacts with entities that are giving them power. So we could go through and try to, while this trail is fresh, but we may go into peril if that much knowledge is hazardous to whoever we're going to.
Fascinating. I need just a moment to compose my thoughts, as though I agree that we cannot let this trail run cold, and we must see to, perhaps this is the dire warning Talia spoke of, and that your sister activated at the suggestion that they activated something at the ruins they found. But I have some interest in seeing to the other mirror as well. Perhaps sending the rest of my rangers in that direction to try and investigate that circumstance as well as this one.
You gather them all.
DM, just a quick question. Like, from my understanding of runic pairing, teleporting mirror doors, any of this give off a whiff of being a one-way trip, or would it make sense that like if I could do it on this side, I could do it on the other side to come back?
It would appear, based on your runic knowledge, and I think based on your 16 that you previously rolled, all you are able to discern at this time is they are linked to each other. Not sure if that's both ways back and forth, a one-time thing. Probably
Right.
not enough to glean from the sequence of runes you investigated to know the answer to that. But they, at the bare minimum, they're at their
linked.
core, they're linked.
Toby, can you send a message?
I absolutely can.
Father, Toby here can send messages with his divine connections. He could send one to Minerva or the Arenil right now before we do something, giving the precise number of people going through each, so that if less than that number returns within the hour, we'll know
We were
something foul was on.
harried.
Should we just message Milat right now if that's what we're looking for?
No, I would not. I don't know if he knows we're on the trail of whatever this is.
Yes, because we should not just venture in here into theoretical enemy territory without letting our allies here know that if we don't return, who's responsible.
Mathros, what do you think? Can you go gather the rest of your ranges?
Yes. Tanthuel, go retrieve the others. Have them report back here immediately. One of them jaunts off. Son, I do not know much about you and your allies' capabilities. The fact that your psionics seem to be flourishing is certainly encouraging. I worry that I need to see to my rangers' investigation in the other portal. Make of that what I can. I can make a few available to assist you, but sending a party into one and a party into the other is something I'm interested in. When the other rangers return, and I will wait for them, I mean to activate this other portal and see what we can see within. Are you and your allies, as well as one or two of the Selethar, comfortable seeing what you can through that portal?
I prefer that you not send your rangers in without you into the other one. I ask that if you are going to give us two who wish to come with me. And let them choose.
Very well. I will discuss amongst them and see who is most willing. Otherwise, prepare yourselves with whatever you need in the next few minutes before my rangers return, and we will venture inward.
Shall I alert someone of our mission? So there's a trail
You
to
have
follow.
you have met the Arenil. You are familiar with her enough to reach out through your magics.
Mhm.
I would request that you reach out to her by starting your statement with "Missile from the Verdant Lord." That will give the rest of your statement adequate authority to give her room to trust the information you deliver.
And then, Toby, I would like the next plot to be the number going through. Mathros. Oh, so much to say. The embassy we're in, which is the Enarlan embassy.
You are in the Eneliran, the Cloud
Eneliran.
Swift.
So Eneliran embassy, basement, mirror portals, blood, Telperion in the number that goes with me into one, Mathros in the number that's going with him towards Thanatua.
Ooh! I'm gonna take out my little metal quill, which is one of my tinkering tools that I've never used. And just on the stonework in front of each of the mirrors, I'm just going. All you'll see Roulette do is literally just drag this like metal, the feather end of a metal quill along the stonework. And in front of the one that we're going to go through will be all of our names with an arrow pointing into it. and then in front of the other one will be Mathros plus X number of Rangers, just like written in the stone on the floor in front of each of them.
Okay. Very well. You are able to do so.
Toperian with would normally be 5, but we're going to be getting 2, so I'm going to say Toperian with 7.
After a few minutes go by, the mirror is still cracked in its unactivated state right now. A couple minutes burning into some of your spells that are up, but most of those I think have durations that can adequately handle that. Mathros comes up to you, Telperion. Telperion, Methwarn here in Dalinel are interested in accompanying you at your side. They have specific instruction from me to lay down their lives if necessary for the good of our people or yourself.
They shan't have to do that, but they are welcome. And when you type
a nod
in the chat.
Yes.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
4 wins. Any other preparations?
What are we
I'm
looking
too
for?
good
What's
at this.
our
I'm
goal?
too good at this. 25 on the dot.
Yes, thank you for understanding that I meant the word missive and not missile.
It's all good.
Yeah, so go ahead and speak that to me just so I can hear and try and respond in kind.
Missive from the Verdant Lord. Any Arlen. I tried to say it the best I can.
Sure.
Embassy,
You're able
cellar, mirror portals. Prince Telperion with 7 companions to Tiarlin. Mathros and his, I don't remember how many he had, Selethar Rangers to Thantuar, I'll say.
There's effectively going to be 12 Selethar in total with Mathros, 2 with you all.
And his 9 Selethar Rangers to Thantuar.
Mathros and 12.
Yeah,
to Thantuar. Yeah. You hear in your mind almost like an echoing voice respond. No one else has quite sounded like this in your head, but you hear, "Thank you, guest of my son. I will keep this in mind and send aid post-haste. Look into what you can without risking the life of my family."
I will relay that to Mathros
So-
and Telperion.
Roulette, to your question. Myla was considered as a council member, spoke against our family, has tried to unseat my mother as that Aranel. I was looking at Narilyn. So I look at this with great suspicion that he has portals to other council members that we have not heard of that operate by blood. The starlight activated by us, my sister, at an Alealo ruin, is illuminating this house with stars in the sky guiding us to here, forewarning of danger. So I think we go through this either looking to see the council members we'd expect in these places and interrogate what has been happening here, or to just confront some other danger or mystery. Is that concrete enough?
I guess just pulling at the threads is kind of what we're doing.
I think that's a great way to phrase it. Are we ready, everyone? I go prick my blood.
Your
Sorry.
father, before you do so, walks over to you. "Gods be with you," and gives his arm for an embrace.
And I'll give the embrace back. Gods be with you as well.
Do the fighting stances of our namesake proud, son. Should it come to blows.
As you taught me.
And he will do the same. As you activate one portal with a prick of your finger, he will move to do so with his own blood, not subjecting his disciplined fighters to that. And both are activated. They knit together the mirrors, which cease to become mirrors and rather are now opened as free 6-foot-tall gateways to a new location, and you are all welcome to step through into what appears to be a different disused cellar storage space.
Gross.
Different layout and structure and foundation, but similar in motif and style. And you suspect very quickly you are in the cellar of some other building, though perhaps in the city of the destination you saw Tiarlin, the Forest Watch. Now I'd like to ask, do we want to stop things there, or do we want to push on a little bit further to see what the case may be here?
I would vote for that being a good little cliffhanger.
Like, just a little bit further, like 10 minutes. Oh, you guys all want to stop.
Not as much wanting to stop, but kind of.
I would say, just as a tiny peek behind the curtain, we could go 10 minutes and gain some more information. If you guys wanted to kind of cut it off there without fear of, oh no, it's going to, if we say more, it's going to be 40 minutes more. I can make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is that okay, Tim, Alex, Steve? Thumbs up. Cool. Well, you arrive here in this old abandoned space of cellar that has clearly not been used in a very long time. What do you do?
I want to go. I go through first, just in case there's hazards, and then I'm gonna step to the side so people can go through. And I will have said to ask Roulette to go last and just keep it open, or just like in case it needs to be opened again, just be the last one to go through.
Oh, I was gonna do that anyway. As soon as I'm through, and as soon as everyone is through, I'm going to turn around and wait until I know it again.
As
and then
you
I'm
all step through, Roulette being the final one. After 6 seconds of everyone shuffling through quickly, Roulette, you look backwards and the open portal becomes, what's the word? It's not transparent. It's a
Opaque.
word. Opaque once more, and then reflectionary, and then breaks from this side as well.
Would you like me to trigger it again?
I'll prick my finger on Alfie,
Okay.
And put some blood on it.
Same thing happens. It reactivates again, opening the portal back, and you see the inscription above this one does say Athenian, or rather it would say Nimberthil.
Beautiful.
Oh, okay. So that's some city change confirmation. I was still thinking it might just be.
Door still works.
So to be clear, everyone, Nimberthil are the type of elves that house an Athenian. So we're going by clan title here, not city name per se.
I would immediately want to see if I can find any more drops of blood bleeding.
Go ahead and make I would say this is investigation based, not perception based.
I'll guide myself for it.
That is more than available. Oh yeah, with a minimum of 20. Very nice. You do see 2 more drops of blood on this side of the portal on the ground. Although what you're piecing together also with your high insight, it could have been the case that whatever blood was provided to the mirror, although the blood soaked into the mirror was fully absorbed, if the wound was made near the mirror, a drop could have fallen on the ground here and in the previous space.
So I'm in my head, Toby's picturing someone was running, grabbed out a side knife, sliced their finger, did this, and as they're heading through here now, it's not like a gouge that there's a blood trail.
Right.
But did they
Right.
bandage it
2 more
quickly?
drops that do not continue further.
Okay, so I was seeing if we could get anything from that, but
Rome, I have a question for you. As we traverse, would you want to go ahead of us as some kind of smaller creature, able to keep an eye out ahead?
Yes, that's a good idea. I'm gonna transform back into my black cat form.
Okay.
And slink forward ahead of the party.
Okay. So with that in mind, you moving forward to essentially scout ahead, are you trying to be stealthy and quiet in your approach? And are you interested in going up the stairs to the next chamber space effectively?
Yes, to both of those.
Okay.
Things.
Go ahead and give me a stealth roll.
Feels like something a cat has advantage on.
I don't know that I'm gonna.
I don't know.
I don't
know.
Grant advantage.
She's turned into Panther. They get advantage, right? Maybe not.
I'm looking up cat stat block. They have keen smell, so they have advantage on
yeah.
smelling perception.
Go ahead and give me a perception check with advantage as well. That you definitely get advantage on. Not the stealth, though. And I'm rolling a thing here. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. I'm going to change the music here a little bit.
Jerry, I have an idea for you, too.
As you enter this new space, Rome, you shrink down into your kind of bark skin cat form and very adeptly and quietly move up the stone stairs, your soft paw prints not making a sound. You slink around the corner of the upward staircase where the entrance to the cellar space is held. And you see, well, first you hear noise of conversation of many individuals. And I'm going to move you to this space, this screen in a second. Only Rome. I just need to make sure to do this the right way. Okay, Rome, you should be able to, well, I don't know if you're on your computer specifically, but you should have just moved to a new screen here.
Yeah, I'm on my own.
I have not transformed you into a cat on your token, but you emerge from the basement space and see a larger kind of central basement chamber that likely you see 2 staircases split and run up above you that likely go to some space higher up, but you're still functionally in a basement space. This cellar you just came from is a very subterranean portion of this chamber. And without any of the individuals having noticed you, you hear conversation of many armor-clad individuals wielding shields, spears, helmets with red and black and silver armor motifs in various sections. 2 of them are specifically on these 2 staircases, seemingly like not looking at you, but looking backwards and up towards the higher up entrance to this space where individuals could come down, as well as a collection of more of these individuals off in this direction around a very small fire. And noticeably, you hear conversation coming from this direction over here. In your cat form, you still have Rome's mental capabilities, so I believe you can still understand Elvish. And as you hear an Elvish chant being completed, you hear conversation taking place of, "Quickly, I believe they might be on to us. Mathros, the general, and others are poking around Eneliran estate. We need to make accommodations and preparations more quickly so that things can proceed as planned tonight." And you hear a strange voice that you've never heard from the other side of the conversation, out of view.
Oh my god.
Rather annoying. Very well, we will have to expedite our plans. Ugh. Cormag, please prepare yourself to aid the others. I will try to see to the other side of things.
And that is what you hear being spoken. And you are free to, what do you want to do, Rome? Retreat back to your allies or continue into this space in some way?
I would like to see what's going on, like in the over this way.
Okay.
Can you go?
I would say
up
from
the
your
staircase?
Yeah, so I would say from your current vantage point, you can see that there are specifically 4 armored individuals over in that direction, kind of huddled around a central low smoldering flame on some like throwaway timber wood and such. Just kind of squatting down, resting for a moment, kind of strapping on armor onto their arms, sharpening a spear, just kind of in wait for something. And then you see an individual that you hadn't seen before, and then another walk in this direction and join them. And then another. So now there are 6 individuals over in that direction.
Okay, I'm gonna scurry back to the group.
Okay. You are welcome to. And I assume, well, I guess you're in cat form. Do you end that form to describe to the party what you had seen, or what do you do?
Yes, I'm gonna end that form. I'm gonna kind of like slide out of the cat carcass and become my like roam form again, leaving the like cat carcass somewhat decomposed in the corner. And I let them know there's about 8 to 10 individuals in the room moving forward. It looks like they're preparing for some sort of battle or showdown. I think that we need to tread lightly here and determine whether or not or how we are going to introduce ourselves to this situation.
Were they elves?
Yes, I believe that. Well, they were speaking.
You would know one individual was speaking Elvish, the one who had chanted something into a direction before Common was spoken the rest of the time. I should have specified. And the individual that was speaking Elvish seemed to be an elven figure, but had a hood up and robes on. You did not see their face. None of the soldiers you saw seemed to be Elvish.
Upon Rome describing the people that she saw, I'm going to take out a book of Clothier Croquis and my 2 drawings of Durastian soldier armor, and I'm going to show it to her and say, Rome, do they look anything like this?
Rome, that is exactly what they look like.
Yikes.
Okay, so I think we should not interfere here quite yet. I think we need to go help my father, who may have just walked into an ambush as well. Or do you want to take this group on?
No, your
Rome.
dad's got to take care of himself. We gotta take care of these guys, right?
Rome, I will also give one additional piece of information that the individuals you saw from out of sight walk and join the others were not there before. And so I would think in your mind, you're putting it together that more could potentially join them over time.
It seems as though this may not be the only group to arrive here. Many more may join them. We may be ill-equipped.
I don't think we can take this group on, which means that if anyone is in conflict right now, my father could use our aid and at least we could do good somewhere else. I wish I hadn't tried to use my mind reading already, but I can't figure out who it was now. What do you all think?
I think we need to decide quickly. We need either, if we're going to go back, we need to do that now and not leave a trace that we came through here and then have a full frontal unit
if we go trigger them, they could just come right through the portal as we break it, which I'm loath to do this soon. It could be to our advantage to keep it. I would like to go join my father in case he's in a conflict right now with an army or an attack.
I don't think any of us are in a position to dispute. I mean, this is your home. Is that? It seems like there's some Durasnian influence.
I can't believe they're here.
What are they doing tonight? Are they invading?
Well, tonight they were probably.
Yeah, Telperion, I'm gonna ask you when Tobiram asks that question. What's happening tonight? I'd like you to make an intelligence check, or actually history check specifically.
Oh, 4. 4 plus 6 is 10.
10's enough to get the basic information that tonight's the full moon, which is weird because the Mythals protecting the city are notoriously the strongest at the full moon. However, that means the Selethar scouts being posted around the city are notoriously less strong than usual. And if there were some way to invade something from within the city that doesn't need to worry about getting in through the Mythals, a spot where the Selethar Rangers are at their weakest would be a prime opportunity.
These are the exact tactics they used in Ostennis.
Do we go back through and destroy this mirror?
I think we go back through. We haven't betrayed our presence. We go help my father, and then we see if we could use this mirror to our advantage and take them out as they come through. But the tactics are beyond us. We need to go.
We have to go alert your father.
You two Rangers who've been with us this whole time during this conversation. When we go back through, you're going to be posted on that side of the mirror.
To wait for the Arenal's protection, which she should be sending back through. Wait, Jerry, what was
Very
that?
well. Very well. Make haste. We will see to things here and make sure they do not enter this mirror.
Can we cause some mischief for them on this side before we jump back through?
I don't want to let them know our presence because they could just come through now or know that their plans are detected. Currently, they don't know that we know, and we could use that intelligence to our advantage.
We need to keep any advantage we have.
And I will say this is probably a good moment as you guys discuss what to do next. We can end things here, knowing that seemingly Durastian influence has seeped into the Ithilwinge culture in some form, and you guys can make any decisive action when we pick things up next time.
Gross.
Telperion starts to prick his finger as we fade to black.
Okay. Okay.
Dying to go back.
Very well.
Woo!